Welcome to Scripts and Giggles with Shoshana.
And Marnie. I'm glad you didn't cut the Shoshana and Marnie stuff out of that.
No, because I think it's very much what happens. I have cut a few times in previous episodes.
No, because you threatened to cut.
I did
but
that.
You kept the threat in as well. You didn't cut it, and you didn't.
I want people to know our true dynamics.
Yeah,
off and on the cam, on the cam, on the mic.
We've been secretly recording these
Exactly.
the whole time on camera.
Yeah. Yeah. But at least you know who Shoshana is.
And who Shoshana is.
Don't do that again.
I mean, I feel like we have different enough voices that
I hope so, yeah.
no one's listening to this and be like, this is all one person. Like, can you imagine someone thinks that it's just one person pretending to have a conversation with someone?
Wild. I mean, we do sometimes speak over each other, so
do.
That would be wild.
But you know how people talk about how people will set up podcast setups on TikToks and they're actually not recording a podcast.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I
haven't seen that.
What do I look for in a girl? I'm looking for someone who just like is a good Christian woman. There is no podcast that they're recording. It's just somebody.
Oh, is it just like it's just a chat in front of the camera?
No, there is nobody else there.
Oh, I have seen things like that, but I always assume someone's there. And
But naturally assume
just
somebody's there, but there is nobody there. They just wanted to film themselves saying some righteous stuff on the internet.
Wild
to get a viral clip. Yeah,
that is wild. But you know what? Do you?
I mean,
ish. Yeah. Talking of TikTok,
I have a couple of TikTok things I want to talk to you about. Mm-hmm. Number one, have you seen the? Have you seen the video of the guy singing a song called, I don't know what the song's called, but there's a line that says, and you'll be married in a year in the suburbs?
No.
Okay, he's like a white boy with a guitar.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Okay, I will play this to you after this. I wish I could play it to you now, but I'm on mine.
Yeah.
We're recording.
Oh, yeah.
There has been a couple of music related TikToks that are going viral recently, which I'm very much enjoying because I feel like I've realised people singing badly really does make me laugh. He's not even singing badly. It's that more so that the song is quite cringe.
Okay, cool. Because sometimes I find people singing. You know, like you're like at a wedding and someone starts singing. I cringe.
Yeah.
I crawl into myself, basically.
Yeah, no, it is incredibly cringy, but also very funny. I have another TikTok to show you that I have laughed at. I've seen it now, I want to say 15 times.
Yeah.
But it's this girl, and she's like, practice makes perfect. And it starts with her saying 3 years ago, and she's, I think, singing karaoke. She's singing a Beyonce song. Why you would ever start with, like, it's like starting your singing career saying, I'm going to be singing an Adele or an Amy Winehouse or Beyonce song.
You're setting yourself up to fail. You're literally doing that.
Same as those girls when they sang the I Say a Little Prayer for You. That song is too hard. You cannot sing. It's going to be a flop. And then it's like, so 3 years in the past, and it's like the present.
Yeah.
And she is, I want to say, 5% better. And all the comments are like, baby singing's not for you. Or like, hey, there are so many other hobbies you can try. And I died because I remember watching the video and being like, oh, is there another video coming?
Yeah, you're not going before the
It was like, literally given before and after.
Get to the after, quick.
And I was like, oh, that was the after.
No,
I was so gagged. I was like, this is so funny, and I can't work out if
she thinks that she eats. She thinks that she's really.
But what if she actually is just in on the joke and she's like, this is actually very funny. I haven't really got better at singing.
I hope she. But
she's on a stage in the second one.
No, yeah,
she's on a. No. She's like looks like she's at an open mic.
Oh, that's even worse. Okay, she's believing her own story.
Yeah, she's bought into she's bought into her own hype, and she is off key again.
It's not easy being on key.
But the craziest thing is, why have you put this on the internet so that everybody knows that you're on key? Like, it was one thing for you to perform to that room full of people who will probably be like, that girl was bad, but doesn't matter, we'll never remember this again. And then for you to be like, everybody, I would like you to look at my bad performance.
I definitely think there are people that are nose blind, sight blind, and ear
tone
blind.
Deaf is the phrase, isn't it?
Ear blind! I definitely believe people are ear blind, aka tone deaf. And I think that, because you know, on the switch side, there's some people that have perfect pitch, they can hear what good pitch sounds like. I think that some people think they're perfect pitch, but really they're tone deaf.
I'm gonna sit
that
here.
may be her. She may think, I ate with that. I sound amazing. Let me put this on the internet. I want people to see how much my journey has improved.
Yeah, I don't. I am not musical.
Yeah.
I really like music.
Yeah.
But I am not musical, so I couldn't tell you if I was tone deaf or not tone deaf. But I watched that video and I said, "This is so funny. I cannot I cannot even put into words the joy I am getting from this." And I don't know if it's Am I allowed to laugh?
I think you have to, and also it's just you. It's like it's not that you're in front of her. You're just having a little snigger behind the screen,
giggling in my bed. So people have been making parodies of the Married in the Year in the Sea and in the suburbs. Basically, when he's singing, he goes up on his tiptoes.
Oh God!
But he's really trying to reach the note. And so people keep doing parodies of themselves, like floating up into the air. I've been loving it. Obviously, all the comments are like, "Stop memeing this because it's going to make him famous."
Which it will.
And it has.
And the worst thing is, after this, when I go home, I'm going on TikTok. I'm going to see that.
You will not be able to.
It's the first TikTok I'm going to see when I open my TikTok.
Have you seen the different strokes for different folks one?
Go on. What's that one?
Okay, so apparently, I don't know when they did this, but Cher.
Yeah.
And Future
did
a collab for Gap.
Did they?
Yeah. I feel like this was in like 2019.
Flipping random, yeah.
In the collab for Gap, they're singing the song Different Strokes.
Yeah.
And Cher is singing and Future's doing the ad-libs and it sounds so...
Oh my God.
It sounds so bad, right? But I had not seen the original, so I've just seen people doing parodies like, you know... Whoever, like getting someone with long black hair and then like a random black guy with dreads and then vibing along to the song. And then I went and was like, I need to see what this looked like. And it literally is just Cher and Future sitting on this like empty like white background on some stairs. And everyone's parody has been spot on. And I was like, this is... It feels like a fever dream or a skit from a comedy.
Can I actually watch it right now?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm going to pause this.
I'm going to see if I can...
It's
wild. It's so random.
It honestly feels like a skit from Atlanta.
It looks like a skit on SNL.
It doesn't look real. And I've just been also really loving that going viral. And then you already watch a video once and you're like, damn, it's going to be stuck in my head, isn't it? That's exactly what happened. I'm like lying in bed at 12 p.m. being like, and so on and so on and so on and so on. Just, shut up!
Oh my God.
It also, I don't know why, but she also seems like so old.
Oh yeah, she's like in her 80s, right?
No, but she seems so old in the clip.
Yeah.
There's something about it feels like someone taking their nan.
Yeah, I think
who's got dementia.
Yeah, it's the way that he's sitting as well. Because he's like, let me help you up the stairs. Let me help you down the stairs.
It is so
ma'am.
Weird. I want to know everything about how that came to be. Like, I'm waiting for the person who like directed it to come on TikTok and tell the story.
I think it's someone in the marketing room. They have it, the marketing boardroom. They're like, look, we need a celebrity collab.
So imagine Cher.
Yeah, we need like an icon. Yeah. Cher. But then we also need someone who's like
urban and cool.
Yeah, down for the kids. Future. So like, what if we get them to sing different strokes with different folks?
Because they're different.
And they're different folks.
They're different folks.
And they have different strokes.
And
then we get them to sing that.
Oh my God.
And then we can like make it into a tune. Yeah. That could be like our like tagline. Yeah. And
what are we selling again?
Jeans. Yeah, we are literally just selling jeans.
Not even singing a song about jeans.
Fam?
It couldn't be more irrelevant.
So far. There's not even... You didn't even release like an exclusive limited edition different strokes with different folks.
Maybe they did and we just didn't see it.
I just don't believe... I feel like they spent most of the budget on just getting two of them. Getting Future, because that even 2019, Future was at
this is peak Future.
Peak Future. And Cher is... Getting Cher out of anything. Getting Cher to do anything at her age, you're going to be spending money.
And she said, I'm going to do this Gap collab with Future.
And also,
does she even know who that is?
No. And also, what she's wearing, like, she wearing jeans. Yeah. Okay, because to me, I was like,
they were both wearing double denim.
Yeah, but do you know what? It's random. But also, I think again, put my marketeer hat on. It was like, okay, our demographics. Like we know that old white women like that.
I know that old white women like jeans. You're like, no, they like black rappers. No. They love that.
They love Gap. I said Gap.
Oh, black rap.
But also, mind you, we know Cher's partner. Isn't Cher's boyfriend like...
I thought it was
No, sorry, it's Madonna. It's Madonna, sorry.
Well,
wait, isn't Cher... Wait.
She's older than Madonna.
Yeah, but isn't Cher going out with some like young...
Probably.
whippersnapper. But I said, oh, just saying that. Cher's boyfriend. But yeah, anyway, my thing is they're like, okay, we need, our core demographic is like Gen X women who like have loved Gap from like the beginning of time.
Yeah.
And they've really followed our brand. And now they probably have, 2.5 kids and, they know Gap. They love our jeans, but we just need them to get excited about us again. Mm-hmm. But then we know we've got a bigger demographic. We
need to bring in the young.
We need the young boys. And, also the black people... Black people make the culture. Jeans. They love jeans and they make the culture.
They make culture.
Like her boyfriend is black.
Black?
Oh, he looks black.
Let me see.
And young.
Yeah, that's
given. So... And Cher likes black men, so...
Do you think she did the collab with Future and then she said, do you know what? Do you know what, actually? Let me go and see what's going on out there. Cause
probably.
They all seem like such sweet boys.
They do.
Because Future seems like a very nice boy in
with
that
his
video.
7 baby mamas.
Well, she doesn't know that.
True,
she just sang different strokes with him.
Yeah.
And he seemed like a sweet man.
He did.
A very kind young man.
He did. Well, because there's a 40-year gap between her and her partner.
Work.
So, anyway, that was what it was. And they were like, okay, now we need the black voice. And who did the kid loves? The kids love Future. So
kids love Future.
They do. Like we can't get Drake. I don't know. Drake would have been more fitting.
Drake absolutely would have been more fitting, and I think
and they would have gone out.
More people would have known about this.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I think Future maybe saw it and then was like, bury this.
Yeah, like this is disgraceful.
Or he was like, I'm a massive when you find out people have like they're
massive
like,
in Japan.
like a massive in Japan. Or no, when you find out people are like, I don't know, like learning that Megan Thee Stallion loves anime. Maybe Future was like, I'm obsessed with Cher.
Oh yeah, true.
If you guys get Cher, I will do this. And they're like, we got her.
That's so good.
Like,
I mean, that
I finally get to meet Cher.
That would be a really cool but random story if that was the case.
Please, whoever, like the marketing team, please one of you get on TikTok or do an article. I'm desperate to know. I will say this, spin-off idea for a podcast. I would fully do a podcast where I just investigated things that went viral like this. Like, I would go find the marketing team.
That's very cool.
Get them to come on, explain it. I love weird stuff.
like the behind the scenes part. When I was younger, like, of course I used to watch E religiously, but my favourite parts of E was E True Hollywood Story, because you just learn so much about celebrity and where they came from, and then like the cool things that happened. The exposés is all fun.
I have been very much enjoying them.
Yeah.
I will show you some. Well, I don't think maybe I have saved some. I don't know. Show you some of my favourite parodies, and then my last music thing is there is a rapper. I think his name's Dexter. He is, I want to say Ugandan, but I might be completely wrong. He's African.
Yeah.
And the first video I saw was of him performing his song, which is quite catchy. I really like the song. But his dad was on stage and his dad is dancing. And now I just keep seeing videos of him performing with his dad. And I cannot explain to you how much of a gag it was. And I love all the comments are like, meanwhile, my dad is at home drinking a Superman. Like, it's like, yeah, you're right. Why is my dad not on stage hyping me up? His dad is his hype man.
And he
is his dad's hype man. And his dad is like, looks like this like small, like humble dude.
Let's see.
Dancing. I'm going to pause it so she can watch it. But can you ever imagine a situation where you would be on stage
my dad
and your dad would
No. My dad would tell me good luck as I'm going onto the stage
100%.
and that's it. He'd be like, Godspeed. I said go.
Get my dad up on stage. I don't even know if my dad could dance, let alone get my dad to be me and my dad both do the same dance.
Not this type of dance. This guy's shaking
Have
his
you ever
hips.
seen your dad shake his hips? So you have to ask him.
No, I've seen him do African side step. Yeah, but not shake your hip.
I'm obsessed with it.
Absolutely.
I've seen so many videos. It never gets old. Every time I see him, I'm like, this dad, I don't know if you've gone to collect him from work or what, but he's dressed like a dad.
Someone's emergency contact. Yeah, mind you, at home, this is someone's strict father.
He's on stage just loving it.
Exactly. When he gets home, he will lecture his kids about the evenness of partying. But look, I
love it.
Do you know what? Yeah, exactly.
African parents, you know, in settings that you don't often get to see them.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is for someone somewhere. Do you remember there was another girl whose dad used to dance? She was a musician, and her dad would also dance kind of like that.
Yeah.
To her music, and that would be the videos. And it's like, seeing stuff like that, like, really will heal a lot of people's generational trauma about this idea of like, oh, you know, it's just inherent to African parents that they don't support you. Some people's parents are out there. Will follow their kids to the end
and
of
shaking their ass for their kids when they're
their
rapping.
Kids to go viral.
Look at that. The videos that I've seen, and like anytime I watch it, anytime I see it on TikTok, I do stop and watch it all the way through. I think her name is Mika, and I think she's West Indian, a West Indian girl, and she passed her mic to her mum, and she shows her like pictures of hot celebrities, like hot celebrity guys, and she's like, "Mum, how would you rate Michael B. Jordan?" And the mum would be like, "Oh my god." He is gonna be an 8. I'm like, and it's so funny and so sweet because like this is an older mom and she's just and sometimes the dad does the same thing as well, so they do it together or they do it separately, and it's just fun. Like you can have fun with your parents. Like it's not like it's not about strict. Yeah. I mean, yes, maybe growing up it was the case, but like it's good to see. I think maybe when you're an adult that you can be like, oh, I really appreciate my parents now, or I understand a little bit better, and I can have a conversation that's beyond.
But can you have fun with them?
That's the thing. That's hard. That is really. I think that's very much dependent on the parent. But also, then you have to be like, if I wasn't able to have fun with my parent, I want to make sure I have fun with my kids.
But then sometimes you veer too much into trying to have fun with your kids, and then you're not being a parent. Yes, it's a whole complicated thing.
It's one of those things because you have to set the boundary, like I'm your mother or I'm your father, but also I'm your friend. Like the one day they try and mess around, he's like, no, I'm not your age mate. I'm not your friend.
That's the problem. I think it's like a timing thing. Like from like the ages of 0 to like 21, I'm parent. Once you're an adult and I'm an adult, let's be mates. Yeah. But what if your child is 21 and you're like, I actually wouldn't be friends with you though.
That's hard.
Like you're just not my you're not my vibe. Like I'm funny. Like I like to laugh. Like you don't really like to laugh like that.
No, that can't be my child. That can't be my child.
They're gonna be kind of have to do socialize them early.
Yeah, they're gonna be in a house surrounded by laughter. They're gonna be funny. They're gonna have parents that are comedians. And I'm talking person. They're
gonna have parents that are comedians.
Like I'm hilarious.
Who would be the comedian?
I am the comic relief, and so is my husband.
I've never known that to be the case, but okay.
How do you think I back him? He's funny and I'm funny. We are both funny. The kids will be funny too.
You think that he's a hilarious guy, and then you're gonna go up to him, tell him a joke, and he's gonna be like, "I'm in."
No, I'm not going up to him. He's coming to me.
Okay, so how did you bag him? So my assumption is that you went to go.
Yeah, but he came to me, and I was like, okay, I accept. You can now be bagged.
Work.
That sounds so wrong. That sounds wrong. So wrong.
So those are when my music.
That's
comes.
really fun. Yeah.
And then have you seen the clips from the Steve Madden interview?
I've seen bits of it. By the way, I love the woman that interviews.
Yeah.
Because I've seen some clips of her interviewing other.
Yeah, she did a Telfar one.
Yeah.
Afterwards
I haven't seen that one, but I've seen like a very small clip of it, but I didn't watch it all the way through. And she interviewed someone else, and she seems like she's just very good at just digging deep.
Yeah, I think she really made it feel like a conversation and not like a interview where it's like, I have my questions and I'm going to ask them and I can't do you want someone, I think it's like serve and rally, maybe I'm not getting it right, but you want to volley with the person. RuPaul talks about this all the time on Snatch Game. It's about the back and forth.
Yeah. It's a conversation.
Nobody wants to just hear a joke.
Yeah.
Sorry, on Snatch Game they're doing jokes, but he's like, you get so many more points for being able to volley with me when I throw it back to you. If I throw it back to you, then you're like, I didn't prepare for this. It's giving, you're not in character. Yeah. And I felt they're both present, and so they were able to volley in the way that sometimes I think people are probably really self-aware. But I imagine that interview works because he is so, he doesn't seem like a person who's trying to do a press run.
He's unfiltered, and he's just exactly. And I think the good and bad side. I think I was listening to the Receipts podcast, and they were talking about how they at one point they were supposed to get PR training and like media training, and they were like, no, I don't want to get media training because this is who I am.
Yeah.
Media training will, not saying it will filter you, but inadvertently it will end up doing that, and you end up censoring yourself and becoming really self-conscious about what you say because you're PR trained.
What is the editor there for if not to cut out the stuff that is not PR?
Fam.
If we've said anything that's bad, cut it out.
Yeah, but also like on the spot type of thing.
Well,
live type of
me deal with
live
like,
type of thing.
My own little ratchetness and like, but yeah, I get it.
Yeah, but I think he is not. He came out of prison. He's like, I've done prison life. Nothing you can say phases me.
Yeah.
But hopefully just not take me back in. I don't want to go back in. Yeah. So
Sorry.
So what was the highlights from the interview?
She was basically like to him, you do a lot of knockoffs, and then proceeded to show him both the original shoe, quote unquote original shoe, and then his shoe, and he could name every single shoe that he had quote unquote knocked off, and he's like, I wouldn't call it knocking off, I would call it inspired by, and I really liked that because it's like, but then he made a really good point, which is like, there's nothing, essentially, he said, there's nothing new under the sun, right?
Yeah,
and the point of my brand is to bridge the gap between luxury and sort of high street. And my girl can't afford £700 slippers, but she could maybe afford £100 slippers that are better quality than what you would get at Primark, but still not the extortionate price of the stuff that you're charging, especially when you find out that all of these people are making their stuff in the same Chinese factory anyway. It's like, how dare you charge me for the label Hermes when I can buy the exact same bag, the exact same quality for £100, please.
Yeah.
Like, capitalism, boo.
Yeah.
And I haven't done that in a long time. But I think I just really enjoyed it, and it made me think about fashion in the way that I used to think about fashion when I was at school, where I like genuinely was like, I want to know everything about these designers, and I care about like the differences between these houses and who's moving and who's the head designer now and all that stuff. It was just like fun to listen to, and it made me be like, oh, maybe I will listen to this, and because it is an industry that I find fascinating, and I feel like it's an industry that feels a bit hoity-toity, like removed from us.
Yeah.
And that interview just sort of brought it back into like, you're back with us, the plebs, and teaching us about stuff. Like, you don't have to be a fashion head to be able to follow this interview. And I think that's a credit to the interviewer, and also to, just Steve Madden being a man of the people.
Yeah.
And loads of people afterwards were talking about how this has been great marketing for the brand, and loads of people are going to buy stuff now. I think it's annoying to think of everything constantly as a marketing ploy. Sometimes people can just be having a conversation. And equally, I also think it's crazy to go, just because you saw someone have a good conversation, you're going to buy stuff now.
That was, because I think I saw a stat like, since the interview, like his sales have gone up by X million. And I'm like, wow. One, yes, it shows you the power of, a great interview, the power of social media, etc., etc. But you're right, it definitely wasn't a marketing ploy. I think it was just a space where, I'm so random, I don't even know how it came about, but like, they're just having a conversation, and maybe it's just bringing him back into the zeitgeist. A lot of people would probably know Steve Madden from like the 90s,
and Wolf of Wall Street.
That kind of thing. And then since then, know him from him being incarcerated, and then since then, I've not heard really much from Steve Madden. So even when I saw him, I was like, wow, it was nice to be like, oh yes, I know of him. And then he's talking about shoes and being told a bit like, yeah, you do dupes, and he's like, no, this is the defense of what my brand is. Yeah. So, and like also the high street does dupes, and you guys buy stuff from there all the time. Like, we are always buying dupes because the fashion industry is influenced by whatever is happening that season. So to then berate Steve Madden, you have to berate everybody, right? And I do agree with him that it doesn't really feel there's any original thoughts. Like I was just like walking around and saw like an ad for Lilo and Stitch, the movie, and I was like, but how many of these movies have we seen? Like, there is no new original films or shows, or like even we talked about Sirens. I was like, Sirens could have been in White Lotus. Like, all these shows just feel so the same.
Yeah,
we're going to talk about that a little bit later anyway.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later, but I think also the White Lotus has reignited those, like, people want to watch shows about rich people again. Yeah. But
it's not about TV, but like, to this point, it's like everything is very cyclical. Like, everything does just repeat itself.
Yeah, and if anything gets popular, that's what we're going to see for the next 10 years. Exactly. Like, that's how it works.
Yeah.
I was going to say one last thing about Steve Madden, but I can't remember. It's fine.
Yeah.
The last one. Mm-hmm. Did you see when somebody ordained ginger people as black on TikTok?
I didn't see the original video, but best believe I saw every single after video. Like, oh my gosh, we have now changed from an interracial couple to a fully black couple. Or like, very funny. Or like, you know, like
I'm black now.
Yeah, black. I'm so happy. Like, and then someone's ruined it. Like, there's some ginger guy who said something or done something, and he's like, yeah, you've now revoked the card. You're no longer invited to the cookout. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, I don't think it even lasted a week.
No, but yeah, one. I haven't watched it. Was there like an original video?
I think so.
Yeah. I don't know what the original video was, but also I kind of understand why gingers. They think the idea of like black people sometimes being excluded from society is probably how gingers feel being excluded from the white people's society. Is that a thing?
No, I literally was about to say I've kind of always thought of ginger people as black.
Yeah, in the terms of like the way that they're treated. You're one of us.
But also not.
Yeah. Sorry, like let's keep it clear.
Ginger people sort of fall into the same category as biracial people, where it's like, be careful.
Yeah, true.
Because you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, but then I remember seeing someone saying you guys have to stop inviting everyone to the cookout like a while ago, and I was like, there is something in that. Like black people will laud. I feel like sometimes it's actually for bands.
Yeah,
like I don't think anyone's
true.
being serious.
Yeah.
Like we'll just pick a random thing and be like, this is black now. Anyone who could do this can come into it. Like you'd be watching people doing the Dougie, and they're like, hey man, you're invited to the cookout. Okay, yeah, we love dancing. Anyone who can dance can come to the cookout. And then inevitably that person would do something racist, and we're like, now you've ruined it for everyone. No more dancers at the cookout. And I did think that when I saw it, and I was like, I actually don't have a problem with this stuff when it's just like for the sake of the internet. Like in real life, nothing changed. Like a ginger person didn't come up to me and be like, yo, my sister, can I?
And that's would have, that would have spun me.
Changed the world. But it's okay for us to have just like sort of silly moments on the internet. Like I feel like the different strokes thing is a perfect example. Like sometimes we just have silly things on the internet that we like. They don't change the world. But I remember seeing this video of this guy, and he was being very sincere, but he was crying his eyes out.
Yeah. About what?
About all the love he was getting from black people. All of a sudden, because ginger people are black. I was like,
oh god.
And that's what I knew. Okay, it's never that serious.
It was like the black wife effect.
Don't remind me of that. Because isn't it crazy? No more black wife effects out there.
No, not at all. Like the things that I find quite funny now is like when you see like black people talking about white songs that they will like sing to the top of their lungs, and I'm like, do you know what? I relate to that very much. Like the Paramores and the Maroon 5s of the world. Like honestly, we grew up like that's when I realized I'm open to all music. It's not just black music. I like all music. Well, to a degree, but I like all music. And yes, there are also some white songs that black people know every single word to.
There are not some. There are probably loads. There are probably loads.
There are some, but that is it's a fun thing, which probably only black people can talk about. Because really, in those videos, it's just black people talking about like, yes, that song, Aerosmith. Yes, like I know that song word for word. Hey Jude, we can sing like Mr. Brightside. Oh my god,
coming out my cage, and I've been feeling just fine.
Oh my god,
people talk about how white people love Mr. Brightside. Everybody loves that song. That song
exactly
slaps.
Yes. So yeah, I think sometimes it is. Yeah, it's just a fun thing you see on the internet, and
also sometimes it's like so many of those. Like there are reasons why for some of those white songs. Like there's the part of like we as Brits anyway can only speak to British people because obviously American culture is a lot more like there are more black people there, so it's a little bit more varied, a lot more varied. But in the UK in the 90s, even if you are black, the idea that you are only consuming black media is impossible. Like you are listening to Spice Girls, you're listening to Bewitched, you're listening to fucking Steps, you're listening to we are all listening to the exact same music. So even now, me as a big woman who's like gone through a awakening, being like, yeah, Black Lives Matter, put on the S Club 7 song.
Fam.
Tina's doing her thing. Yeah, I'm gonna be up there doing S Club. There ain't no party like an S Club party.
Yeah,
and I'm never not gonna do that.
No, it's true.
Remember when there was that thing where they were like, yeah, Joe racially abused her.
Oh, that was...
I said, that's sad.
Yeah, that was
Did
sad.
I delete the discography? No, I did not. And I never will. That's got nothing to do with
to
me.
Joe, I even forgot Joe was in this club.
Joe who?
Yeah, I literally, like, she's not part of the group.
She's not even one of the girls like that. She never was.
No. So, like, I mean, she wasn't my favourite. It was Tina, I love Bradley. Basically, I liked Rachel's.
Tina, Bradley,
Rachel,
Hannah.
and I liked Hannah. And also what the guy that passed away, I liked him too. So, yeah.
Paul.
Yeah.
I even like Lee.
Oh, yeah.
Lee, who I was like...
Really?
LGBTQ+.
Oh, do you think he was?
Yes.
Oh, did he come out now?
I don't know if he came out, but as a kid, I was like, I understand that something's been communicated about Lee. Whether or not you guys are saying explicitly, we know.
Yeah, it did take me a long time, like definitely in my teens, for me to realise, in every group there must be one.
Why would he be in the group otherwise?
Like Duncan from Blue.
Oh, but when he was in Blue...
Fam.
No.
No, you could not tell me otherwise.
I was not getting any...
You could not tell me, no. Because I watched it.
When he came out afterwards, I was gagged. Because I genuinely was like, I had no clue.
No, because I remember seeing a video, and this has got nothing to do with him being LGBTQ, whatever. I just remember watching a video, like, recently of, like, the One Love video, and I was like, Duncan was so hot. He was actually the hottest guy in the whole group. I didn't realise.
Duncan was so hot.
Yeah,
people always used to talk about Lee, but Lee wasn't even like that.
Yeah, no, Lee could sing. He carried.
He was in the church choir.
Yeah, he carried the songs.
He
was like guy. Michelle Williams. He carried the bridge.
But was Lee hot or was he just young?
No, he was young. But Duncan was hot.
Duncan was actually hot.
He needs to stop touching his face though.
No, it's too late for him now. Yeah. There's nothing we can do about him now. But him back in the day, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
He was.
There is nothing we can do about that now.
He really was.
But he was that guy. Yeah. He was that guy.
Yeah.
Like, I really... Yeah. Simon, I was like...
Yeah. You have a good time.
But Duncan, I was like, whoa, is he? Is he?
It was like, wow. He also just looked very cool. Who was the other guy? Lee? No, that's not
Anthony.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know, these are the boys back in the... Ask me to name JLS. Couldn't tell you. Go on.
The guy that is married to Rachel Holmes,
What's his name?
Oh my gosh, you know this. It's not like Anton.
Jerome.
No, it's like that's just really annoying because I really his surname is Holmes.
TJ.
No, JLS members.
No,
Aston
Aston is not him.
Aston is a small one. Yeah,
name as many as you can before you look it up.
Aston
JB.
Oh yes, JB. Who was the one with like the black guy?
Orishe.
That was it.
Yeah.
Then who was the tall one?
The other guy was
Rachel and Rochelle and
Stephen.
No, Rochelle and
it nearly came.
It begins with J. Rochelle and something Holmes. Rochelle and
Marvin.
Yeah, you knew all of them. I just remembered Aston, but to me, I always remember feel again. Feel again, it's killing me.
We literally saw them become band.
Fam. We did. I'll be honest, that's when X Factor was on a different level. Like, of course, we had the stars from, like, the early years, but when they started to make stars...
Leona Lewis. And Alexandra Burke.
Fam.
JLS.
Wait, did you...
One Direction?
Yeah, One
Little Mix?
Direction. Little Mix, yeah. I'm sorry, like, people... That was... Kelly Rowland, I think that was a part of Little Mix. She helped form them, and maybe Nicole Scher, singer. We need to be rating those talent because they literally saw talent.
Oh yeah, have you seen the video when Nicole basically put
what Little Mix together?
No,
Fifth Harmony.
One Direction.
Oh yes, so she
got that video of them being like this guy,
yeah. And I think Kelly Rowland did. I thought Kelly Rowland was part of one of them.
Maybe.
Yeah, I thought she.
I feel like there was the clip I'm talking about.
I know
all the judges are there. They're all kind of putting them together.
Out.
So I think Kelly is there being like, you need him.
Yeah,
blah blah. But it's so crazy
because they could see it. They could see the vision
based on what 3 auditions that you've done.
Yeah.
A vibe that they're getting from you. Oh, he's going to be the one that the girls fall in love with. He's going to be the lead. He's going to be this.
Do you know what? It's really smart because I've done shoots where you're picking like talent for like a show and then doing for the advertising, and you can kind of, once you have your vision, you kind of like know, this person works. I remember there was a show I was working on, and there was this this black girl, and she looks amazing, and I was like, I want her in this ad. but she had like a different hairstyle. I think she had a natural hair in the image, and the creative director wanted to put her in like braids or a wig, and I was like, no, you need to. And thankfully there was like more than one black person in the room, so it was like me and another girl, and we're like, no, keep her in her natural hair. Like, she looks incredible. I think she had like a wash and go. I was like, no, she looks stunning. Don't put braids, don't put weaves. Like, this actually goes with the vision of this show. And we ended up keeping her. She was hired, along with like another guy. But you can really, like, and we saw tons of casting tapes, and that's, perfectly honest, that's really fun. You get to see, like, you can just tell, like, literally in like, I don't know, 30 seconds, like, yeah, no, this is not the person. Oh yes, this is the right person. But yeah, it's a fun experience, especially when you have the vision already.
It's super interesting. We're self-topic though.
Sorry. Let's go back.
But actually, no, we can wrap it up, because I didn't really have much to say about the gingers thing, apart from like, whenever there's a moment like this, when you do it about people, someone's gonna mess it up. Like, the different strokes thing is funny because it's like a moment in time, right? It doesn't matter the Future's got 78 baby mums. It's actually not relevant to the clip. But when you do it with people, it's always tricky. But you're right. Equally, my thought when they were doing that on the internet, it's like, what? Wait, haven't ginger people been black this whole time?
I just remember, like, my mum always saying, like, ginger people red hair is so beautiful. Why are they always getting heat? And I'm like, and I said, I don't get it either.
It is.
What would you get with a ginger?
100%. Okay.
That wasn't a.
So
I wasn't trying to make a comment. I was just I literally just said, okay.
I've liked ginger people in the past, and I will like ginger people going forward. Actually, my formative crush at school was
ginger.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Rupert Grint.
Oh crap! Yes, I forgot.
I would have died for that man.
Bro, I don't think I've had a crush on a ginger.
A redhead.
A redhead. I don't think I have.
I do think people with red hair are like exceptionally lucky, because
I think it's a unique trait.
A compliment. The way that compliments that white skin goes off.
Yeah,
it really does.
And I just feel like I've never understood like the hate. Yeah.
Well, someone was saying it's
more
because
nice.
Irish people tend to be ginger more so than so it kind of goes back to the whole no blacks, no Irish, no whatever thing of like we don't like Irish people, we don't like redheads. Just see, because I also think, isn't that girlie that's famous in Scotland a redhead as well? Well, which tribe-wise quite similar.
I mean, there's quite a few of them.
No, you know the girlie from Tangled? No, it's not Tangled. What's that? Brave.
Oh, is it that? Yeah.
But she's based on a real person.
Oh, is it? Oh, no. I was like, who there?
on like a real legend.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Actually. No. But anyway, I think is a beautiful trait. One of the things that has been very clear in this segment is that at the moment our TikToks are looking very different.
Yes. Yeah.
One day it will probably converge again, because there's been times when our TikToks are really. You asked me, have I seen this? I'm like, yes. But at the moment, everything you asked, have I seen that? I said, absolutely, I have not.
Like, no.
So I don't know. My TikTok is not. My TikToks have been some Cowboy Carter videos.
Oh yeah, I've been some Cowboy. Oh yes, there was one.
Blue Ivy one, like the before and after that transformation. Blue Ivy's been great. What other ones? The Mika one I told you. Yeah. Diddy's trial, which we'll probably move on to. I think that's been a lot of my, and then there's the random videos you see. That's pretty much it.
Well, speaking of Diddy, should we move on to what culture news?
Let's do it.
So Diddy,
yeah.
The court case is happening. Yeah. I have been picking up bits and pieces, but honestly, I've been trying not to follow it, because I think someone was telling me a bit about the Cassie, like a bit about how they would hire escorts, and then Diddy would be in the room masturbating while she was, and I said, you know what, I don't need to know this information.
It's really detailed. So my TikTok, in comparison to yours, has been some of the Diddy case, because
I've been scrolling past it.
It's really it's hard, but it's actually very it's very engaging, and I'm like very intrigued. And we've been talking about we talked about it very briefly last year when it all kind of came out and he was arrested, but now the case is happening. It just you just want to see how the prosecutors and the defense is going to like unravel this case. He's been charged for a number of different things, like racketeering, so racketeering, RICO, which includes things like sex trafficking, kidnapping, etc. And I think the first week of the case was, a lot of it was Cassie's testimony, because she was heavily pregnant. She's just had a baby boy.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So I mean, the amount of stress that she probably was under.
Crazy.
She had
did that to her.
No, and she had the baby.
And they couldn't wait for her to have the baby.
No, I think because the court
I think
case,
they couldn't start the
that is
court
true,
and like have her come in and do her evidence.
Yeah, that really could have happened.
They could have put her baby's life in jeopardy.
Yeah, honestly, so
he would have got her twice.
Yeah,
he got her already. And he was gonna let him get her a second time.
It's scary because she gave birth maybe a week or two earlier than the plans. I mean, by that point the baby's cooked.
Yeah,
but
a week is fine.
Yeah, but still, like,
I even think they count it as premature for a week early.
No, I think because the baby's like basically you're ready.
Yeah,
like, you can go now. So
you can go now.
You can leave.
Get out of here.
Yeah, but I think that the testimony was really, it was so exposing and really damning, especially if like understanding the detail of their relationship, and it really highlights the trauma and the cycle of domestic abuse and being in that type of relationship or interpersonal violence, whatever they describe it as, because you can tell, and she sort of kind of weirdly talks about it, that she loved Diddy, and there's still that love for him even though he did such heinous things to her. They got together when she was 19. Just like her career hadn't even really started. I think she may have had Me and You, which is like her first and her biggest, and probably like her
Don't forget Long Way to Go.
Crap, Long Way to Go was
because you got a long way to go. Say you wanna love me
and love me when it's no, that's
what twice because you got a long way to go.
Wait, was long way? Was a long
it's
way?
Not that deep. Take it easy. Is she talking about her vagina? Do you think?
I don't even want to know.
It's not that deep. Take it easy.
It's so hard to know.
You got a long way to go.
Bruh. I try not to think about it because like a lot of the songs growing up was just innocent, and then when you really start to dissect the words, you're like, everyone is disgusting and dirty. Legit.
All of you filthy
minds. And us, like, when we're there, like, I don't know, 10, 11, singing these songs, being like, oh my gosh, this is a cool beat.
The other day I tried to listen to My Neck, My Back.
And
I said, sorry, I have to pause. I still cannot believe that you wrote these lyrics and then you recorded these lyrics and then they put this song out. And then I am 11 years old being like, oh, my ladies pop that pussy like this. What?
Did you know what that meant when you were singing it?
No, I actually also forgot I had the clean version. So it was all my ladies pop your like body don't stop don't miss. All my ladies pop your like.
I tried.
Just do it now. Do it. Just like you should.
I was listening.
But the thing is, even the problem with beeping stuff sometimes is suck this. You're leaving it to the child to just put in whatever they want to put in there.
It's very true, yeah, it is true.
And I'm trying to think of a dirty thing because I know that you blinked it out because it's a bad word.
But then, like,
so I'm
what's
like,
the
bad
word
could it be?
But the thing, I was so used to listening to thing on the bleep that I can't remember what song it was, that I was playing it back and I heard the dirty version. I was like, I was like doing the beeps in my head because I've been always trained to understand the bleeps. Mm-hmm. It's just part of the song.
Yeah.
Listening to Not Like Us in clean version is one of the wildest experiences.
Someone was like listening to Bashment songs in the clean version. It's just silence. It's just silence. And do you remember that song F You Right Back by Amos?
Yeah. This like,
most of that I don't want you back.
And give that.
Why bother to play the song at that point?
Why don't you just go
and why let them record the song if you know you're not going to be able to play the song on any radios?
Why don't you just record a clean version? I remember I saw an interview with Doechii and someone was like,
he did F You Right Back. He would say F you right back.
Yeah.
But what is the point?
Clean the rest of the song up.
I can't think of a substitute. Yeah.
Come on. I saw an interview with Doechii where someone was saying like, we can't play your song. I can't remember which song it was, but we can't play your song on the radio because it's too day, or there's just bare bleeps. And she's like, okay, I have to go into the studio and record a safe version. I was like, yes.
And that's why we have Kids Pop. Kids Pop will just rewrite the whole lyrics to the song.
Yeah, do that, because at least I'll be able to enjoy the melody of your song, even if it's like not with the intention of what you were writing initially. But why did we get there again?
Talking about Cassie. God, okay. Diddy's court case.
Diddy's court case. So Cassie gave her testimony. So yeah, they got together when she was 19. She was with someone else before. He basically almost like swept her away. He signed her up for a 10 album deal with Bad Boy Records. She only, to this day, only released one album. In how many? Almost a decade, over 2 decades. It's crazy. The abuse started very early on into their relationship, and then very soon, I think maybe less than a year of them dating, he started to introduce the freak offs, which we now know as like those kind of sex parties where they would get sex workers to come, or they would literally be looking at things like Craigslist and.
I heard that and I thought, you have to be so. Like, you have to live in a world where you're like, there's absolutely no way this will ever have blowback on me. To be just going on Craigslist, picking up any randomer. What is to stop this person saying?
That's the thing. Or they had NDAs. They set up NDAs for them. But I don't think it was for every one of them.
And then Cassie wore wigs. So...
Yeah. And also that you couldn't see Diddy because sometimes he was in the room and he had a disguise. Or he was in another room. They will have sex. Then after the guy has finished on her, she'll go and wipe it on Diddy. There's been instances of urination, like the guys will urinate on her, and so there's been times when Diddy and a guy would urinate on her. There's a lot of drugs involved, and I think you kind of got the implication that she got like addicted to quite a lot of like drugs, prescription pills, etc., and that was just part of the whole freak off incident. But she was also using it to self-medicate to kind of numb herself from those instances. And then when the defense started to speak to Cassie and interrogate her, they were trying to also like make it seem that Cassie wanted the freak offs as well. It was she was a willing participant, especially given that she was also finding the men as well.
But what happened, like, I feel like every time we get to these points where people start being like, but you wanted it, are we forgetting coercive control exists?
Yeah, and I think that's the part where they still haven't really brought an expert who to talk about that in detail. I think they brought an expert about abuse, the same expert that they used during the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial.
Oh, how helpful.
Which I know a lot of people are like, do we want to bring her? But I think she talks a little bit about the abuse and the cycle. I can't remember a lot of her testimony. But yeah, they really, I think the defense really tried to kind of break down Cassie's argument about like what we as probably the public assumed that the relationship was like Cassie was being abused, but they were trying to say like, no, but Cassie wanted it. Like she was part of this, and she knew the world she was getting into. She knew there was a benefit of being with Diddy, all that stuff. So there was that, and then Cassie's testimony ended after like a week. She went, and I think for her husband was there to support her the whole time. After she gave her testimony, and she was then released. Her and her husband released statements saying, look, I'm just happy to being able to just speak my truth. The husband said something like, I as her husband, I didn't save her, she saved herself, and basically like really uplifted her. And he's a good man, Savannah. Or that's what we can kind of tell, especially because it must be so hard to hear about this, especially things like, the fact that Diddy allegedly sexually assaulted and raped Cassie. I think they removed him from the courtroom when they were talking about that. It's a harrowing experience to the point where she wanted to like end her life. So it's not been easy, and I think maybe growing up and see their relationship, I think a lot of people were just like, where's the ring? Why isn't Diddy not gonna marry Cassie? But they seem to be so committed to each other, but we don't know that actually there's so much more behind the scenes, and there was so much bruising that was covered up with makeup. So that was the first week of testimony, and then they've had other not witnesses, what do they call it, other people that testify, other people that have come to testify, including Kid Cudi.
I heard a bit about his testimony,
and
he talked about his relationship with Cassie and Diddy, and them being in his house and then blowing up his car, and then later on Diddy basically being like, sort about the car and that. Yeah,
exactly. Oh, what car? Like, I don't know anything about the car. I think, and one of the things that I've been hearing in terms of like the testimony, and one, there's no cameras. Like, this is not OJ. This is very much, it's a federal court, federal case. So all we know is some of the or some of the journalists out in the room who are actually like live tweeting the case, so you can understand like exactly what defense is saying, what the questions they're asking, and that's as much details as we're getting from as the public. But you can tell in the whole court case, depending on the witnesses, some of them love to throw jokes. Like, Kid Cudi called Diddy like a Marvel villain. Yeah, like he looked like a Marvel supervillain. Like, it's a serious case.
Yeah, Cassie's hairdresser made a couple of quips at one point too.
Yeah.
I guess it's like, sometimes I can imagine being, like, you go in there, you're prepared for cross-examination, right? And maybe sometimes in order to not be intimidated by them, the questions you're being a bit smarmy, a bit sarcastic, because it's like, I know you're trying to catch me out and trying to make me look like I'm lying about what I experienced, but I didn't. So I can either double down and be like, no, that's not what happened, and be seen as like, because the other thing is, annoyingly, as a witness, you actually have to be thinking about the way that you're answering these questions, because what you don't want is the jury to be like, well, I didn't trust him because he seemed so like, it's a performance as well. Like, I don't know. Is court the most does court work?
I mean, it's been working from centuries.
Has it though?
Actually, true. Actually, it's very true. But the thing is, like, how do you know someone's telling the truth? People, even if you put someone on a lie detector test, they will still, and some people can, fake it or lie in a lie detector test, which is crazy, but people have been able to navigate it, and it's not 100% accurate. So there's things like that, and I don't know. I don't know a lot about the jurors, so I think a lot of it is going to be dependent on how the prosecutors are able to lay out the case, but also how the jurors understand the case, because it's not about, the case is not about abuse, because if that was the case, Diddy should be buried underneath the jail. Yeah,
it's obvious then, I guess, in covering the abuse stuff is just to make it so that the jurors actually struggle to not find him guilty and other things, because he's just not a good guy. But that will help him on his appeal grounds, because they'll be like, why do they talk about so much of the abuse stuff when this is a RICO case?
That's the thing. And I think that's why they've had one of the most recent witnesses was Diddy's assistant, and I think she's got the most interesting name, if that's her real name, Capricorn Clark.
What?
Capricorn Clark. She was Diddy's assistant for like basically almost 2 decades. Well, since like the early 2000s. So almost 2 decades. On and off. Okay. And so she was present around the Kid Cudi stuff with the whole like potential like blowing up his car. She has witnessed the beatings, or like him beating up Cassie. She has been like privy to a lot of stuff behind the scenes, and I think a lot of her testimony, especially the journalists, were saying like after that testimony, it really started to unravel who Diddy was as a person, and really kind of made it very clear like the RICO part of it. Her testimony really helps with supporting that.
I mean, if we're here to talk about trafficking, the questions that you're asking Cassie are, did he traffic people? And did you witness that? And I guess, as much as you guys are asking for the salacious details of what they did with those people, if you're flying people in to fuck them,
that's trafficking. Yeah. So, I mean,
even technically moving Cassie around to have her fuck people is trafficking.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. And the interesting part with this case is like, okay, of course RICO is about enterprise.
If you want to go, by the way. Like, if I was a prostitute and you were my pimp and I were willingly a prostitute,
that's just trafficking.
You organising for me to go to Vegas and fuck someone is trafficking.
That's so interesting.
That's trafficking. You are moving people around for the purpose of selling them.
It's gonna look, I am keen to see how the case unfolds and how much more evidence the witnesses that come onto the stand, and if he's found guilty or not. I mean, I think everyone has their own personal opinions about it. I think Diddy's not a good guy. I don't think we need to have a court case to see that, but seeing all the things behind the scenes unravel, it also makes it very clear that Diddy's not the only one. There are so many other people in the industry or in the world that behave in this way. I'm just keen to see what happens next.
Yeah. I think the problem with a case like this is all of these people, like Diddy will go to, if he is found guilty and he goes to jail, it's like you've got one scumbag off the streets, which is great. But a scumbag is only able to be a scumbag as long as there are people that enable him. Yeah. And, like, that's the problem. Why would he ever be made accountable if no one wants to make him accountable? You know?
And that's how people stay in the industry, as long as they do. And when they eventually... And if they eventually get exposed...
Everyone's going to act like they never knew.
Fam, yeah. It'll be like, oh my God, what a big surprise. The Harvey Weinstein thing. Yeah. Oh my gosh, we never knew.
Meanwhile, all of a sudden, all of you guys are coming out with stories about how you... And it's like, I get it sometimes from the perspective of the victims, where it's like, I just thought it was maybe only me.
Yeah.
But then also, over time, when you start to be like...
Yeah.
There was something... I feel like sometimes you can tell when someone's pulling a move that they've clearly pulled 1,000 times. Yeah. And you can tell when someone's trying something because this was like, I thought I had an opportunity. Yeah. It's a lot less polished and slick.
Yeah.
And his operations seem polished and slick, even in the examples of women that were able to get out of the hotel room. I'm sure you spoke to other actresses and they said that happened to me, and then you guys all said, okay. And I'm not trying to blame the victims and be like, it's your job to fix these situations, because I don't think it is, but I just think it's also endemic of, if you two are talking about this and you know someone else has happened to you, and you've probably spoken to other producers and people that work there, blah, blah.
Everyone knows.
Everyone knows. Yeah. Who is going to be the person to be like, hey man, this is not okay?
No, it's yeah. I don't know. So anyway, that's Diddy case. We probably will give an update, you know, maybe towards the end, because it's going on for 8 weeks. I think we're about, we're close to being halfway actually, so... Yeah.
Something I wanted to talk about today. Yeah. So, you know me, I'm across the internet listening to culture updates, and I see, and this is going to be weird because I don't really listen to the radio like this, but it really made me stop in my tracks. So Sophie Habbo,
who's that?
Jamie Lang's wife.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Has been announced as a host on Radio 1 alongside Jamie Lang. I saw that and I said, isn't this interesting that these rich people, right, who are famous for being rich, are now getting all of these media opportunities that people used to like train for? Like, what are we doing as a society now, giving opportunities to people who don't need opportunities like that?
Yeah. And
then they said, they're talking about. Then it made me think of what's her name? Louise's brother,
Spencer. No, sorry. That guy.
Yeah, and how he's suddenly everywhere, and he's a presenter.
Sam Thompson. Sam. Yeah.
And listen, no hate to any of these people. Yeah. Jamie, iconic on Made in Chelsea. Made in Chelsea barely existed before Jamie.
Him and Spencer.
And Proudlock.
Yes.
And Francis had their little trio, and Spencer. All these people are incredibly important to that show. Yeah. So I'm not mad at them. I do enjoy them, but I just think it's a little bit weird to have like that be Made in Chelsea be a jumping off point for these people to get other media opportunities when they're heirs to massive estates. Yeah. Like, I just think it's weird. Like, what are we doing making these incredibly fortunate people have roles and jobs that, like, we should be giving to actual people who don't have that? Yeah. Like, I don't know. It just made me think about all those people, like Ronan Kemp's son.
Yeah.
This person's son. This. It's like, our like presenting landscape right now has just turned into nepotism.
Yeah, it's nepotism and influencers. Yeah,
and most of the influencers are people from who have been on shows already.
Yeah, I think that's the real frustrating part. And putting my marketing hat on, it's always going to be about the money. It's always going to be about the influence. 100%. It's always going to be,
the audiences that they think you're going to bring in.
Exactly, and that's
maybe they are bringing in massive audiences. I don't know,
because I think they have their own podcast. So so they're going to continue their own podcast and then do the Radio 1 show. I
assume so.
Yeah, I feel like, unfortunately, it's just it's the big names that get the big opportunities, and it's because they have the influence already. And yes, the nepotism is there already, because Ronan Kemp is Martin Kemp's son. even though Martin Kemp is a completely different, well, he was on TV and
iconic
singer.
Singers.
Yeah, exactly. But it still helped. Yeah, it's still, there is no doubt that Ronan Kemp being the son, was able to get into some opportunities or get through doors that other people who have studied journalism had to do. Yeah, exactly.
Well, they would not know how to do that.
Yeah.
And that is the issue.
Even if you have talent, and it's like this double-edged sword of nepotism. Like, you may have all the talent in the world, but you'll always be known as the son of, the daughter of, the friend of, the cousin of, even if you were in a completely different field. And people will always assume, well, you got through it by your network.
Yeah. And I don't know, I'm not going to say, like, I'm not one of those people who feels really strongly about nepotism, like, none of those people should get any opportunities whatsoever. It's not even that. It's just, like, when you see all the opportunities going to a certain type of person, you start to go, oh, yeah, I guess now nepotism is bad, because now we only have nepotism. Yeah. But I also think that this is a recession indicator, because the UK has this very love-hate relationship with the upper classes, right? Like, we like, at the height of Made in Chelsea was when, like, actually there was, like, prosperity for the working classes. And so we were looking on rich people, not in a, like, oh, we'll never get there type way, but in a, like...
aspiration.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
And then it sort of dwindled because life got hard, and we started to realise that our lives are hard because these very people are making our lives hard. And now we're back here again, where we're like, oh, but Jamie's cool. Oh, but Jamie and his wife are cool. And we start to have these, like, rich people again in these positions where we're like, but they're just like us. They're not just like us.
They're not.
They're not just like us.
Kendrick, when he said they're not like us, he meant it.
He meant it. And I just think it's so interesting that we are back in this space again, where we had a period where we had people that sort of looked and sounded like us in those positions. And we're like, I think about this so much, about, like, RuPaul spoke about Drag Race, and someone had asked him a question like, do you think the Drag Race would be as popular if it came out now? And he was talking about how, like, in history there are, like, cycles of liberalness, and, like, the height of RuPaul's Drag Race was, like, just I think just pre-Obama, and in the period he basically was saying, like, of the Obama period opened the doors and had us all convinced that, like, racism doesn't exist anymore, homophobia doesn't exist anymore, or not that it doesn't exist anymore, we are making strides so that, like, we're on the upward trajectory, and actually we're, like, back down again. And so, like, suddenly RuPaul's Drag Race has gone from a corner of the market that's serving a market that exists and that we are acknowledging finally, to being almost protest art, because we're criminalising drag. People don't drag people are aligning drag with trans issues, and because trans issues are such a hot topic, like, it's become protest art again. And it's like, isn't it crazy that this show has been on long enough that it's gone from a show that's just an entertainment show, that a show that is constantly talking about voting and having a political lens and being like, oh, our votes matter, who we vote for matters, because, like, I think people will argue drag has always been political, but, like, it's just so interesting in the lifespan of me watching it, how it suddenly does feel different, but also the world feels different, and the people that we put on pedestals feels different. And I feel like we are sadly heading back to a world where it's like the rich are on top again, the poor are on the bottom, and this fantasy land that we lived in where everything was possible is no longer everything was possible. And it's quite sad.
It is really sad. It really is. And it's I think you can see it just out and about. Is, yes, the economy is heading towards a recession, and you can see it in everything. You can see it in the media. You can see it in the reception of just what media looks like, what culture looks like, what celebrity looks like. It is. I think I definitely agree with you about the recession marker. I really definitely agree with you on that. And also I agree that it's sad to see society like this. But also, unfortunately, not unfortunately, but because it's so cyclical, we know it will swing back.
Yeah.
At one point, it's just when it will be. And also, I think also for creators out there, that they should not dim their light because of the society they see around them. Because going to your point about the protest art, like create the art that you want to create, and there will be an audience to find it. It will be accepted in some way or some form. Maybe not right now, but it will be later on.
The tricky thing though is it's not so much about the artists. I think it's more so about like when the people who sign the checks are deciding they don't want to sign your checks anymore. It does make it hard to make your art. Luckily, I think the difference between now and the previous recession is we have things like TikTok and
that is true.
YouTube. That means that you actually can make your own art, right? Yeah. But I just think it's so interesting. Like a colleague of mine went in to see a head of a big studio, and they said to her, I'm going to be honest with you, you should probably think about having different type of projects on your slate, because her slate was predominantly black.
So
as in like black projects or black-led projects, and he was like, you're not going to be able to sell these.
Wow.
And one, I think it's wild that, you know, he said that, but like, I think that is what happens in these periods of time. They'll go, we did the big social experiment, we made your little black shows, right?
Not anymore.
Now it's England for the English.
Yeah.
And we've got to these other shows because that's what the people want. And you're right, inevitably we'll swing back the other way. But it's like, it's difficult when you belong to the group that are being shut out. Yeah. And I know that there'll be, no, I don't think those people will listen to this podcast ever, but I know that that's how certain parts of certain demographics, e.g. like white middle-aged men, feel about how hard it is to be a white middle-aged man. But like, the reality is, even when you guys are quote-unquote shut out, you're still able to make art and make money and live your lives. And
very true.
For those other demographics, for people of colour, for LGBTQ+, for queer people, being shut out is actually the door is shut. Yeah. Because we don't have parents who are going to bankroll us so we can make our art for
that's
YouTube.
True. And that goes back to a nepotism point, is this like...
You're giving opportunities to people that don't need them. I even as I'm saying that, I know what that sounds. It sounds like I'm saying art is about giving opportunities to people who don't have them. And I was like, no, that's not what I'm saying. Make the art that's the best, right? Give the job to the person that's the best. I believe that 100%. But I also do think, sadly, there is a requirement, given that we all have these inherent biases, that if you are a white middle-aged man, sorry, you often think other white middle-aged men are the best. Yeah. You are going to look at a black project and be like, I don't get it.
No.
Even if it is good.
You hire in your own image.
Yeah, exactly.
You hire in your own
image. And that's why we need to have these schemes and quotas and discussions about diversity, because the issue is not about, oh, we should just make a black show to make a black show. The issue is, even when a good black show comes across your desk, you're going to pick the mediocre white one because that one looks familiar.
And exactly.
And so, as much as people hate to talk about quotas, that's why those quotas exist. And no one wants to acknowledge, like, no, I don't have any biases. I just look at art that's good. Meanwhile, if you ask them to name their top 10 films, not one of them will be a film made by someone of colour.
Oh, no.
And you're not going to sit here and say that nobody of colour's ever made something good. So, the mass is not massing. No. But I saw that, I just said, oh God, what a recession indicator.
It's true. And I was reading about a Guardian article, I think, recently about the state of the British industry, TV industry, and how a lot of people of colour...
Yes, I saw that article as well.
Just seeing the realisation and knowing that it's true. Like, we see it in real time, like, the people that were making TV in the 2020s and 2021s after George Floyd, all those shows have gone to nothing. Like, the examples I highlight, the examples of all the Black Day, Black to Front, all that stuff just out of the freaking window.
None of the stuff that they made for Black to Front came back.
Not one.
None of that stuff.
And I think there were actually some decent stuff they had. High Life could have really come High Life could have really become and been a complimentary show to Made in Chelsea.
Literally.
It could have been the Black Made in Chelsea.
Why can you make 17 seasons of Made in Chelsea but you couldn't make one of High Life?
And I think that's actually crazy, because when I go on every now and again, if I'm on Channel 4 and I see Made in Chelsea, I'm like, who are these people?
And also,
who are still watching this? This is like W.A. Smith. How how is WH Smith still rolling?
I
That
don't
being said,
know.
they've just
magazines.
they've just been they've just been bought by another company though, and they're changing the name from WH Smith to some other random.
Why would you tell me that?
Oh, I didn't knew that. That news came out like
I love WH Smith.
A couple of months ago. It's going to be called.
See what? Sorry, WH Smith going is as sad as Wolves going.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Wolves going. Pick and mix.
Heartbreaking. Right next to Peckham Multiplex.
Fam.
So you go get snacks.
And then you go, yeah. It really was part of it. Then you go and get all your school supplies because it was cheaper than the
Every school supply, you could get clothes from there.
Yeah.
I loved Woolworths.
So it's been taken over by Modular Capital, and it's going to be eventually rebranded to TG Jones, which sounds like the shoe shop, the shoe company.
Yeah, and it also sounds like TK Maxx.
Fools. So anyway,
where are we going to buy magazines from now?
You'll still be able to buy it from WH Smith, and you still be able to buy it in the store. It's going to be just rebranded.
No,
but in the
branding of WH
in the
Smith.
airports and in the train stations, it'll still be WH Smith because that's the only place they're making money.
At work.
Ironically, yeah. So, yeah, that's. I mean, that's the signs of our times.
Yeah,
but I have
WH Smith.
Yeah,
that's really upset me.
Yeah,
really
but I'm not the TV industry, the nepotism, but the
selling industry.
Yeah, but I do think
the books.
I just don't want to have
pens.
Yeah, fam.
WH Smith. Yeah, Woolworths is where I would buy my school supplies, but WH Smith is where I wish I could buy my school supplies. True. Like that's where they sold the Parker pens.
I also they did the Parker pens.
You can get that.
It was like a prize possession if you had a Parker pen.
They were $12.99.
Bruh, but a pen.
Can you imagine that? Do you know what's crazy is I wouldn't even blink twice at spending $12.99 on a pen.
Yeah,
but as a kid,
yes, that's the thing.
Like to my mum, can you buy a $12.99 fountain pen?
Excuse me.
And people would steal them.
Exactly, and also,
and then you'd see someone using it because. You know they can't afford it.
Yeah.
Like, there will be a handful of girls that had Parker pens.
Yeah.
If your Parker pen ends up in someone else's hands, you know it's yours.
Stolen. And also, you also need to buy the infills as well.
Yeah.
And then the infills, if you don't pack it right, it will explode everywhere.
Mess everywhere. Mess up your whole bag.
I cannot believe that. Those pens probably still exist, but I
100%.
cannot believe that.
That
is still that. It caught us in such a chokehold.
Yeah, it had us in a chokehold. Like that was the epitome of. But isn't that such a tale of like youthful innocence that you guys are like we're talking about like the best pen to have.
Yeah. And then there was gel pens, the pens that you can smell,
smelly ones,
all those fun things.
Those funny things. Yeah, all those fun things. Felt tips.
Yes.
Oh, do you remember fine liners?
Oh my gosh, fine liners
in the pack, the Stedler ones.
Yeah, I feel like you had like a big pack.
A friend of ours did too.
Yeah, she did.
And she was very particular about letting people use those.
Yeah, because her hand.
She said, "I'm not losing one of these pens."
No, I mean she was specific about everything.
She was specific about everything, but I was not, and I did be colours been missing from that box real quick, and I'm forgetting who I lent it to. Oh, can I borrow this for a sec?
But yeah, I think. We just have to wait and see how the industry will change. But I just pray to God that we don't have to have another George Floyd for people to be like, we need more black shows on TV.
Yes.
Like we don't need a seismic moment in history for you to realise that diversity works. When you are seeing the content that is created by people of colour are selling and outperforming some of your other films, Sinners versus Marvel. Like, go figure.
You know... Yeah, like you said, of all those shows, Mr. Loverman just won a BAFTA for the two.
Oh, did they win it?
Yeah, well, the lead, the supporting actor both won BAFTAs.
Oh, interesting.
And they're one that I think they gave great performances, so I think they deserve those out like 100%. Yeah. But I just also thought it was interesting that thinking about how the year that Top Boy ended, the Top Boy won, like all of those things feel like the industry throwing you scraps. Yeah. And like often you're the only black show that's been nominated. I don't know. Yeah. A recession indicator. TV is a very tricky thing.
Yeah. Also, I have been listening to or every now and again on TikTok I would see the clips from the Rest is Entertainment podcast, and there was a point that the woman, I can't remember, I don't know what her name is, she was talking about the BAFTA awards and how outdated it was. The fact that like in the awards ceremony that just went, we're celebrating shows like the Postman one. I can't remember. Mr. Bates and the
but Mr. Bates versus the Post Office, I think.
And some of these shows were like the beginning of last year, so it just feels like
Baby Reindeer.
Baby Reindeer, like last April. Like a lot of this feels very dated. But then that being said, all award shows are
Have a
year before. But I think the problem is the timings of the BAFTA awards. It just needs to be early in the year. But then they will compete with the Oscars and the Golden Globes.
But like, also, who cares?
True.
You're a UK awards ceremony celebrating UK TV. What does it matter if the Oscars are going?
Yeah, because celebrities are more likely to go to the Oscars.
And also, who cares with the celebrities? Because you're giving BAFTAs to the producers. You're not giving it to the stars. And of the people that are nominated for the BAFTAs this year, were they movie stars or were they TV people?
No.
Like, it's not the same. You're being silly. Yeah. Whoever's being nominated for an Oscar is not being nominated for a BAFTA at the same time. It's just not possible.
I think
maybe the Mark Rylances and of the world, but Jessica Gunning for Baby Reindeer is not also in a Marvel film. Like, we don't need to worry about that.
I think they can bring it early in the year and it feel more relevant versus like, what was this? April?
Yeah, it was the baby. I was surprised by the Baby Reindeer snub, and then also surprised thinking about the fact that I guess it technically came out ages ago to jury, but I don't think you should be ranking it based on what came out ages ago. But it's crazy. It's all confusing. Anyway, should we get to a bit more uplifting? News. A bit more. No, I said it's not a bit more. Definitely more uplifting news than that. What we've just talked about is our favourite couple.
Yes.
Well, two couples have had announcements this week, but our favourite Love is Blind couple.
Absolute favourite one.
The ones, actually.
Literally,
that have launched Love is Blind into what it is.
They are the standard, and that standard has not changed. Well, okay, Amber and Barnett, we respect you.
They are the Adam and Eve of Love is Blind. There would be no Love is Blind without these two.
That's very true. And to this day, every season we keep on going back and say, how come we don't have a couple like this?
And that couple
is
Lauren and Cameron.
I'm so happy for you.
And they are having a baby.
Do you know what?
They've been married for 5 years.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Which actually is not that long when you say
it's not, but
somehow feels like an eternity.
Yeah, like because we've known them for 5 years.
They've been married for 5 years, but it actually feels like 20.
Yeah, actually, because they got married. When did the show? The show came out in
lockdown. We were in lockdown when it came out.
Was it 2021 or 2020?
2020, I feel like.
So then they got married the year before. So they've been maybe married for 6 years. I was so happy for a couple that I don't know.
I've never been more happy for a couple
I don't know them, but I've followed their journey, and they had a podcast last year where they revealed that they were going through IVF because they had some infertility complications, and for them to talk about. Then I watched their most recent podcast where they talked about the process, but also Lauren's father passed away at the beginning of the year, and so it was very it was just a lot of stuff going on at the same time, and it almost these opposite events, death and life, and just there was a lot of symbolism in that when they were talking. Well, not symbolism is the wrong word, but a lot of connecting these two moments as they were talking about it.
I'm gonna say something spooky, potentially out of pocket.
Wait, let me find out how many years they've been together. How many years married? Because I think you're gonna say something that's really Oh, yeah, you're right. 5.
I think that.
Oh, sorry, no, it's 7.
In November, 7 years.
Yeah, in November 2023, the couple rang in their 5-year anniversary, so it's almost 7 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
7 years is insane. Well, so the show came out in 2018.
So it came out in 2020, but they were married 2 years before. Right. That was a problem. Yeah, so the show was on the shelf for 18 months before they released it.
And they did that because.
God knows, actually. God knows. I feel that maybe they were trying to find a perfect time to release the show.
See, they should have actually shot 4 more seasons while it was shelved. Yeah. Because as soon as it came out, people became too self-aware.
Yeah, exactly.
Before then, I think that's why they have never been able to recapture the magic of that.
That is very true.
Because they did not know what this was going to be. So everyone is in there being their real selves, and that's why it's such an iconic season. Even the people that flopped, it's still iconic. Because they are being dead ass in the way that they're behaving. Anyway, there is something incredibly poetic about stuff like that. And I always think about, like, not to this. I think this might sound religious. I don't know if I mean it to sound religious, but like, you know, when he takes away, he gives. Like so many people have stories like that where it's like, oh, we went through this hardship, and then suddenly we had this thing, or like, oh, we lost this, but then we got this, and I just think, of course, like, poetic, like, this is the poetry. It sucks because you're thinking, well, I would have liked to not lose my dad.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it'd be nice if my father was able to see his grandchild.
Yeah, but it's almost like your child is the comfort in the sort of storm that is grief, to like anchor you again, because you're so out to sea when you're grieving, and now you've got this thing to focus on, and this new life that is, you know, not ever going to fill the void of the other person, because you can't, right? Like, but it's just like a light again where there hasn't been one. I think that stuff happens a lot, and I don't know, I think that stuff is like spooky.
It really is, especially given the timings of, you know, the passing, and then even technically they were supposed to do the IVF implantation, I think almost like basically around a couple of days before the father died, or a couple of days after the father died. They were supposed to do the IVF, and then I think it got cancelled, and they postponed it to the new year. So, Lauren said that, you know, had they done the implantation when it was initially scheduled, she was like, she did not have the mental headspace to be able to do that, because, you know, she had just lost her father. And to your point, they do kind of cover that a lot when they were talking about the pregnancy and how it came about, and how they really do feel that, like, their dad almost like confirmed, like, she in the podcast, Lauren said that she had a dream and she saw her dad, and she's having a conversation, like, basically, how's heaven, how's things, and I think he said something along the line of, like, I don't want to butcher what is said, but basically, it's almost the dad gives a confirmation, like, oh, I will be here, like, your son is coming soon, and she's like, oh, does that mean I'm gonna have a child? And then that was like,
she woke up.
Yeah, she almost like woke up, like, and you woke up, it was just a dream, but like she woke up and it was like, you know, she wants to ask more questions, but it was like, I've got to go now, you know, I've got to chill in heaven.
Whenever someone visits you in the dream, they're just there to give you a little be the most cryptic they've ever been, and you're like, you've been never this cryptic in real life, just say what it is.
Give me more. And she said that after that dream, she just felt like there was that confirmation, that peace, like, I'm going to have a child. And yeah, it was a really like emotional podcast. I was very teary-eyed even like listening to it, because she talked about like the grieving process, and then she asked Cameron, like, how do you feel? And he's like, I've just been strong for you, like, I've not really tried to express my emotions. Then he started breaking down crying.
He's such a crier as well.
He is, fam.
Like, he's such a person who wears his emotions on his sleeves, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
But like, I can't think of a couple that deserves a child more, because I just think there's clearly so much love in that household, and that's what you want for a child. If there are any rules to who deserves a kid and who doesn't, I just think, like, we've seen so many couples on TV, and I've never seen a couple that be that in love. And
they look like, again, we don't know what goes on behind closed doors, but to your point, they have a lot of love, but there's a lot of maturity. Like, they look like they communicate. Like, yes, they probably argue, but they look like, okay, we've had a conflict, let's sit down and talk about it, and let's like digest this, and let's like, it looks like there's like a very like mature communication, conflict management between them, in the way they position themselves as a couple.
I think a part of that is that they both want each other. I think that is, to me, what was so evident about that couple, even from the very beginning. Like, they match pretty quickly. I was like, these two people want each other. And I feel like when you want something, you, like, making it work is not that hard. Because it's what you want. I think a lot of people get into relationships thinking that they want that person, and then like, they finally learn who that person is, and suddenly they don't want to do the work, because they're like, I don't even know if I really want you like that. those two seem to want each other, and if you want something, you do the work for it. I've noticed anyway, the way that people behave when you want something,
you put the effort
fight for it.
You
like,
will, and
it won't be a chore. Even your arguments won't be like arguments like that, because it's like, okay, well, ultimately, what I want is for us to be good. So how can we get to a place where we're both happy, rather than coming into argument and be like, I want to be right. That's what I want. So I was very excited for them.
Same, I'm very much, and I literally I pray that the rest of the pregnancy goes well. I love when he said like, look, if you see my wife out and about, you touch her, I'm literally going. he was ready to fight. And Cameron's a big guy, and he's like, he's maybe not as hench as when he was on Love Is Blind, but I feel like he's ready.
Shoshana goes. Cameron is Shoshana's. That's what she's looking for. If Shoshana's looking for anyone, it's Cameron. You should see her face while she was talking about he's a big guy. Her face lit up, thinking about how tall and hench he is. Her face literally lit up. It was
You're
scary.
an idiot. No.
I was looking at you being like, why are you even grinning like we don't know what this guy looks like? You're so excited just remembering.
No, I'm just happy for them. I'm happy for them. No, but I love that he was like...
No, the most exciting you've got this whole conversation was talking about how he's a big guy. I'm like, you're so happy.
I love that he was like, I'm ready to throw hands if anyone comes and touch my wife. I'm like, that is so sweet. I want a man to do that for me. Don't touch my wife. Don't touch her belly. That's what he was saying. Don't touch her belly. But yeah, I do wish them I'm praying that they have a very.
See how she's calm now. She's not talking about how big he is.
Shut up, you idiot. She's
got real calm.
No, I'm praying that they have a very smooth rest of the pregnancy, and like they just enjoy this moment, and I think they'll be incredible parents. So and also they don't feel pressured that they have to show everything. Like, we followed your journey, and I know it's like one of those things like, because we followed their journey, like
no, they're going to show us that baby, and
they will. But I just
when they're ready.
Yeah.
Also, we had another pregnancy announcement.
Yes, we did.
From AD and what was the dude's name?
Ollie.
So Ollie from the UK Love Is Blind, and then AD from Love Is Blind season 4.
5. Is it the same one with Milton and Lydia?
No.
5 then. I think she was 5 because I think
she's on Megan Fox's season.
Oh well, I think it's 5 because 5. Was it 6 or was it? Let's just Google.
Oh my god, that Milton season I've literally deleted from
I thought Milton was 6. And then the car crash of the Tradwife season was the most recent one.
Oh, and that was 7?
I think that was 7.
Okay, yeah, so they were 5 then.
Yeah, I think they were. Because I remember.
Wait, when was Ashley and that guy?
Who's Ashley again? Oh. Yeah, AD is Love Is Blind series 5. Series 6, it must be the Wait, how many seasons have we got so far?
I don't know, girl.
Was it 8 or 9? Okay, basically, AD is 5. I think Milton and Lydia is 6. And
Ashley's the most recent season. Wait, no. Ashley was the season before the one that was most recent.
And is she the same season as the cool girl and the guy who was like the Taylor Swift, Taylor and
Taylor and Taylor?
Was it Taylor and Taylor?
Yes. The girlie who was like
she was like super cool, and then she wore like a short dress for her wedding. Love Is Blind series.
And the guy had the bead, the little rat tail.
Oh yeah, him, Ramses.
Yeah, it's from that season.
Yeah, so that's their series 7, and then series 8 was the most recent one with like
the white people.
The whites. And then series 6 is AD. Sorry. Series 6 is It's saying series 6 is AD. No, sorry. Series 6 is the that.
Where's Milton then? Did we imagine that? Did that not happen?
Milton did happen. Wait, who? Okay, participants. Because there's Amy and Johnny. They got together.
This is not important.
He's not. Sorry. Basically,
Amy was on a season of Love Is Blind. Ollie was on a season of Love Is Blind. Yeah. They were not on the same season of Love Is Blind. However, they were both on Perfect Match season 2, 3, which has not come out for some reason.
No, at all.
Since it's aired, they've been dating. He's proposed to her, and she's pregnant.
Bruh.
I don't know when are they going to play the season?
I assume they're going to do it in the summer. I think that Perfect Match is going to replace what Too Hot to Handle is.
well.
I think it's going to be in the summer. I think we're going to see it around Love Island.
I don't know how fun it is to watch a show where I already know what happened.
Yeah.
Like, at least for one of the couples, what's happened.
And the thing is, I correct myself. They were AD was series 6 because it's the same year as Amy and Johnny. And then the thing the season before was Milton.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. Series 4 is also pinnacle because there was like 4 couples who have now. There's one that's been broken up now, but there was 4 couples, and then yeah. Anyway, back to the point.
Yeah.
Perfect Match is I think it's gonna come out in the summer. The last Perfect Match came out like 2 years ago.
Yeah, it feels like forever ago.
It did, yeah. And I've heard rumours that like they are literally. I think they're going to be scrambling with their storyline, with the editing, because I think what AD and Ollie's story
on the show
was not. Yeah. It was not that.
I've also heard that. Yeah. Did you hear that from Jessie Woo?
I've heard from a influencer that was talking about Jessie Woo. Yeah. Because basically Jessie Woo, she's industry plant. She must know stuff. But yeah, apparently like the love story that actually happened, if Ollie and AD didn't get together and get married or get engaged and have a baby, it's probably something that's going to be. It's probably very similar to the Clay situation.
Yeah. Anyway, but now she's having a baby, so congrats to her. Mm-hmm. Speaking of Jessie Woo, AD has a podcast now.
Yes.
She had Ashley, who was from her season. She can be asked to remember what it was, but just as a reminder, if you don't know who Ashley is,
the most recent one.
Who decided to marry. No, the most recent one was the white people.
Anyway, let's move.
Ashley was the one who was in a relationship with a guy who, in the show's timeline, told her towards the end of the show that he had 2 kids that he had fathered via sperm donor.
7, yeah.
We then learn actually at the reunion that she already knew about the kids and that she staged that whole thing. Whether that's true or not, we'll never know.
Yeah.
Then it came out that he didn't father those kids as a sperm donor because he was actually raising them kids just before he came on the show. Mm-hmm. And all of this was uncovered by the internet, because the internet be uncovering stuff. And the mother of his children also came out and was like, what is he talking about? That's not true. Ashley said, that's my man, I'm going to stick beside him.
And you guys are bitter and jealous because you haven't had a child. Because you haven't got married.
Very recently divorced him.
Yeah.
And went onto this podcast to talk about her experiences with him. And spent the majority of the podcast talking about how the internet basically brought her marriage down and were baying to destroy her marriage. And it's like, babe, you married a con man. Yeah. No one can destroy a marriage if the man is not the person that people are describing him to be. And also, they only could do that because the information was out there. The mother of his children
came out.
Because he was spreading misinformation. And then it turned out you were supporting him in spreading that misinformation. So I don't know what you want from us.
I watched that interview with AD and Ashley. And you're right, gave nothing. At the beginning, I would say that AD was doing a good job in terms of like holding her to the fire. Because she would ask Ashley questions about like, what does she think about Tyler? How does she think about him now? And she's giving this like PR, media trained answer. And AD will be like, no girl, like, we've asked you to come on this podcast. We want to know the truth. You're no longer married. Well, I think by that point she's now filed for divorce. But like, you are no longer in the relationship with him. You can be honest with us and tell us what you really feel about him. And then she eventually was sharing like, you know, she fell in love with him. She really believed him. She kept on asking Tyler like, I don't want to be sent out to the wolves. Like, please don't lie to me. Fam was still lying. And then she became my man. Then halfway through the interview, AD was basically supporting Ashley, going like, yeah, because all these people on the internet trying to like drag you, all these lies. I didn't even watch the 5-part series with the mother of the child. That's what AD said. Yeah. And I was like, look, I get it. Ashley's your girl. But you also have to be impartial. You're a podcast host.
Wouldn't it have been a better conversation had you watched that?
Probably.
Wouldn't it have been a better conversation had you actually double-checked your sources and your facts? Using your podcast, which you're allowed to do, I guess, to continue the propaganda that you two aren't birds, as Jessie Woo was calling them. You two aren't birds, but you're actually 2 smart people who went in there with your eyes open. It's exactly what you can do if you want to do that with a podcast. But the thing is about the internet is people will just post receipts about how you're chatting shit. And the problem with Ashley is not just that she fell for this man's life, because everyone would support you if you put your hands up and you said, I fell for his lies. Yeah. It was the fact that you was helping him to perpetrate his lies.
Yeah. And then
when at the point where you would have known, because actually the 5-part series with the mother of his child had come out.
Before the reunion, yeah.
Before the reunion.
Yeah, it did.
So you saw that, and you must have said to him, what's going on here? And you must have known, and you said, okay, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to go on the reunion and act like she's lying and you were just a sperm donor.
I think it was very clear in the conversation with the two of them that, like, they're both my man girls, and it's fine. They both sentiment a lot and heavily.
And that's why you had to go on Love is Blind.
Exactly. And she even said, like, I didn't have any problem with finding a man before Love is Blind. Like, I was fine. But she was like, I just wanted to get married. And the thing I miss about marriage is being in a secret wives club. And I was like, girl,
you weren't in a secret wives club. You weren't even a wife. You just admitted that you didn't even know the man you was married to. So what secret wives club was you in?
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to ask yourself. I say this all the time about, we have a friend who's always talking about, I want a partner. Do you want a partner or do you want to be in a relationship? Because if you just want to be in a relationship, you could pick anyone up off the street to do that. And that's not actually the right impulse to have. Wait till you meet the person that you're like, I want to share my life with you. Because isn't that the point? You're supposed to be sharing your life with someone. When you're in a rush to just tick the box of I'm someone's girlfriend, don't worry, you can become a girlfriend tomorrow. Yeah. The problem is the quality of man that is going to be you're going to be the girlfriend to. You can't guarantee because the onus was on getting in a relationship. It wasn't on finding the right person. Yeah. And I feel like Ashley is the epitome of that girly, of the girly who's like, I want to be married. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to be married, but I think making that a goal in the same way, like I want to lose 5 pounds, it could say different.
It's
things.
Different thing. It's such a different thing. It's such a big
commitment.
Thing.
You can't put a time or a date on an emotion. No. It just doesn't make sense.
No. And it's something that's so important. Yes, you want to lose 5 pounds. Yes, that's important. There's no doubt about it.
But you also can do that by yourself.
Like, exactly. But saying, I want to be in this relationship. Your choice in your partner can determine the trajectory of your life. That's
your life, your
kids' lives, everything.
Your family's
exactly,
lives.
Like all these things, like the relationship you're in. Going back to the Diddy's case, like I know, sorry. Not the phone checking that,
Time to go sleep.
You need to go and sleep, baby girl. Okay. Look, no, just going back to Diddy's case. The way that even Keith...
Sorry, even in playing a bit of a lullaby is so funny.
Oh, yeah.
Time to
go
to sleep.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, time to go there. Even, like, the fact that Kid Cudi had a small fling with Cassie years ago, and because he got in a relationship with her, he was being dragged into court almost 10 years later to talk about a quote-unquote Marvel supervillain that
tries to kill him,
that tries to actually literally off him. That is what I mean, is like the person you are choosing to be in a relationship can determine and can impact your life.
Got to be careful.
Honestly, even these people, even the friends of Cassie, some of them even got beat up by Diddy. That's just by association.
Got to be careful.
So,
and it's not to say that. Like,
sorry, that's the extreme. But I'm just saying you have to be very careful.
It's not to say every example is going to end up like that. But like, in Ashley's case, the example is now you're sitting on a podcast talking about how you miss being in a secret wives club.
Yeah. And
not really being real about the fact that you was married to a con man.
Fam.
What does that do to your emotion? No. What does that do to your psyche? Anyway, not to dwell on it too much, but like, not everybody should have a podcast. And we've said this before on our podcast, but we do not think that everyone should have a podcast.
Do you know?
And if you're not going to dig into the things...
Don't bother.
Because the one thing that AD has is you have exclusive access to these to the people. Use it for something, like, get the juicy shit. Otherwise, let me go listen to these other podcasts that are reading articles to me. What am I getting from you?
Do you know what I would say this? One, AD, if you were stuck with the tone and the pace that you had started the podcast with, in terms of like putting Ashley to the fire or her feet to the fire, I think we would have got a more valuable interview. You may not have been buddy with her, but you have to take that, you have to understand your role as a host. You're there to speak and ask the questions that the audience wants to hear, especially given that you said, Ash, you're one of our most requested guests. If if your audience is requesting it, you need to answer the request.
Yeah, and also I'm sure that they have even if you couldn't think of questions to ask, I'm sure that they had questions.
Oh yeah, but apparently you felt like the producers may have fed you questions, but you just stopped listening and just decided to have a key
with your
best
mate,
buds.
which you could do on the phone.
Exactly, and also the second thing I was going to say about Ashley is that Ashley had the biggest opportunity to go on that podcast, even after everything that happened. Her going on Nick Vial's podcast and making it, just acting a fool there. All the things she said about black women. She could have literally gone on that on AD's podcast and say, "I made a mistake. I'm sorry." And I'm telling you, we're forgiving. We will forgive. Everyone loves.
Who's we?
Society loves a second chance.
They love a comeback kid.
They do love a comeback kid, and you could have had that opportunity to just be like, "Look, I'm going to be fully transparent. I made a mistake. I did something wrong. I'm sorry." It took me time for me to understand that he was not a good guy, but she decided to double down and be like, "Well, black women."
It was the internet's fault.
Yeah.
Jessie would drag the shit out of them on
for obvious
YouTube,
reasons,
and I watched the whole live. Not live, ultra recording of it, because I would never watch a live. I don't understand why people do that. But anyway.
I've watched it live, but also if it's in America, it's really hard to be live with them.
Yeah, it's like 3 a.m. I'm not like, but Jessie,
of course,
those girls are
yeah,
wonky eyelash and leave out. Like, I would not want to cross her.
Oh my lord!
Oh
my lord!
Calling them birds. I'm like, bring back birds as an insult. Actually, you're
gosh.
a bird. I'm gonna. Although I like birds, so I wouldn't really call someone a bird as an insult. But she dragged the shit out of them, and if I was them, I would delete the podcast.
Yeah, they should have.
That's what I would do. But
I think they both doubled down and stand on it.
Of course.
And then. Coincidentally, surprise, pregnancy
announcement. You're bullying a pregnant woman, so
which is actually quite scary. Like if your reveal of your pregnancy was for that particular reason, that is scary.
The internet is a power play, and it's literally Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
You got to deliver the information when you need to deliver the information. But
congratulations to all the babies.
Yeah, congratulations to the babies. Well done, baby. You are going to be part of the human race. Speaking of Love is Blind, we are about to start talking about some dating formats in our reviews.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so there has been a tranche, I like that word, of new dating show formats recently. And I thought we could just talk about them because some of the formats I feel like are barely dating shows, and at some point just pornography. So the first one I want to talk about is Cheat.
Yeah.
Unfinished Business is what it's called. And it is a show led by Paul from the UK, Man at First Sight, who is lovely.
Love him.
And Amanda Holden.
The absolute irony.
So I didn't know the backstory until after I watched the show, but like I was still like, if you've watched the show, Amanda does so little. Paul could have hosted the show on his own, and I understand maybe they didn't think he was a big enough talent, X, Y, and Z, but like the most interesting part of the show is Paul's interaction with those people, because Amanda doesn't interact with them.
No, and irony.
She's not Amanda Holden anymore, first of all. I don't know who that woman is.
None do I.
That face, I was like, oh.
Well, I don't know.
You guys are too rich to be getting such bad
person.
work.
In between that and the ethnic rhinoplasty discussions, which again is wild.
So I go down this rabbit hole on Instagram. I found this girlie who had. Well, I wish I could find it. I'll see if I can find it afterwards. The transformation of her face before and her face afterwards, completely different person. Yeah. So then I went on to the surgeon, and all he does is ethnic rhinoplasty.
Okay, so he specialises in it. Okay.
Yeah. This girl's face was completely different though.
But
so he said, all I do is nose drops. I said, but she has a completely different mouth, skin tone, head, new boobs, new bum. The before and after pictures are different.
Not the same.
Like, anyway. And I was looking at the noses and I was like, some of these are crazy. Some of these are fucking
You need to stop, because ethnic rhinoplasty does not mean I'm making your nose white.
It's the same white nose.
Everyone wants this nose and it doesn't look
The bridge is like sort of flicking up even a little bit. Like,
and it's like, no.
It's low-key giving the bridge who stole Christmas, like the noses in Whoville. That's what it's low-key giving.
That's what that girl, I think, I can't remember what her name is, maybe like Nico or something like that. And that's her nose. It's like, and I was like, you could have said that in the draft. You did not need to come on this big internet to show your nose.
I just think, I feel like, I get it when you're for young people, right? Because they, again, don't have frontal lobes.
Yeah.
Haven't spent enough time with their nose to realise that there's actually nothing wrong with your nose. You're going to get laid with that nose or without that nose, right? But me at my age, right, who's gone on a whole journey of being like, oh, I just think I'm not pretty, blah, blah, whatever. Now I look at my face, I'm like, you change one thing on this, you have to change the whole thing. You have to change the whole thing. If my nose was smaller, I'd have to get smaller lips. Next thing you know, I'm Michaela Cole. Yeah. Next thing you know, I'm Michaela Cole. I can't do that.
Every part, like...
And that's why everyone ends up getting the exact same face.
Because I'm like, I'm sorry, God did not make it. It was not done by denial. It was
by accident.
By accident. So
he doesn't make mistakes.
He doesn't make mistakes. Your face is designed for what it is. Like, your face is proportional. Like, if you touch one part, everything's gonna look out of place.
It's going to be
wild. And I've seen a couple of like really interesting one, like Tiana Taylor before and after. I didn't know she had a nose job. But it looked great. But still, that's your natural face.
Mimi?
Oh my gosh.
Like, and you're also now 8 shades lighter.
Yeah, like, that'll come on crazy. I'm like, why have you changed? Because I was like, your hands and your face are not matching.
I just think it's crazy. Like, the thing is, I think, obviously this won't happen because money is to be made in the plastic surgery, but you should have to go to therapy for a year before you're allowed to do that.
100%.
To cut into your face.
Yeah. The only person...
Because more time you just need someone to tell you that you're pretty.
Yeah.
And to remind you that you're pretty. Yeah. And to remind you that you're sickening. Because I feel like in Nini's case, clearly enough people have clowned you that you feel like this is what you need to go and do. And it's very sad because you're like one of the most iconic people on the planet.
You are quoted free of charge.
You'll be quoted beyond your grave.
People will remember... People remember every single thing. Oh,
not a white refrigerator.
White refrigerator sales are going down because of that. That's saying.
Now why am I in it?
Yeah, I barely see white refrigerators when I go Curry's.
Her bob was tight.
I said what I said. Iconic, but there's that. The only person that I saw that they did a plastic surgery, and I was like, what? Christiana? I was like, how have you end up looking like your child?
Snatched.
You look like... I literally thought that was Kim. I was like, you look like Kim.
But here's the problem.
Yeah.
When you take dress off, is it not old lady body? Like, where does the line get drawn? Because... So before I was looking at people who've had all this work done to your face, and your neck looks like you're 58 years old.
It's like
the face and the neck don't match.
So then she got that done, but again, everything else
from the waist down.
You are 70-year-old woman. So anyway,
and like I don't know. I feel like sometimes it's also not understanding what your brand is.
Yeah.
Nobody's looking at you, Christiana, because they think that you are the fountain of youth.
Yeah, you are the mamager. You are and she's a beautiful woman.
And she was always a beautiful woman. Why on earth do you need to look like you're 40?
Kim's gonna do the exact same thing.
But her job is being beautiful.
That is true.
That makes sense to me. Her job is being beautiful. She invented this job my job is actually that I'm just hot.
Yeah.
I don't really do anything. No. I'm just a hot woman that people want to be. That makes sense to me. Yeah. Like I'm interested in the evolution of Kim's career because like even her trying to get into acting, like I saw the ads for her Ryan Murphy. Ryan Murphy I think is either doing a prolonged prank on Kim or he's lost the plot. I think because looking at the ad for that, I was like, you set her up.
Yeah.
Why have you gone and got the most iconic actresses in the world and then Kim Kardashian?
Do you know what was annoying me the most when I did the Billings? Kim Kardashian,
Glenn Close.
What's her name? Sarah
Niecy
Paulson.
Nash.
Why is Kim on top of all of them? And the things are no shade, no tea, but I'm not watching the show for Kim Kardashian.
I don't want her on the show now.
Oh yeah, of
now
course.
That I've seen the ad and I've seen how she acts, I don't want her on the show. Yeah. I'm not. Now you've made me not want to watch this.
And I think we've talked about it that there's sometimes when you get so famous that you can't actually play anything because you may want to get into a character, but you're always going to be Kim Kardashian cosplaying as the.
You're not an actress. I know this sucks so much, but I think genuinely good actors, someone was saying this, like, artists, genuinely good artists in any medium have been ordained to do that, right? You will never be a good actress because that's not your ministry. Your ministry is being a handsome woman. You have changed the game for what it means to be a good looking person. Yeah. Because of you, people can make money off being good looking and sitting in their house and reviewing products and or marketing shit. Like, you have changed the game. Why can't that be enough?
No, I think
why do we have to watch you in a shit Ryan Murphy vehicle as well? The worst thing is, like, even the quality of the way this is shot feels like a spoof of a Ryan Murphy show.
No.
I said before he was. I said at this point Ryan Murphy has completely given up on good storytelling for outfits. Every single cut, every shot of the trailer was just a ridiculous outfit that no one would ever wear. Who was actually a lawyer.
It's given this One of Us. What's it called? It's Blake Lively's film.
It Ends With Us.
It Ends With Us.
Yeah, it's giving that.
Because that was wild.
I'm looking at this, I'm like, the outfits are so ridiculous, it's distracting.
Yeah.
How is anyone supposed to watch a TV show where they're like, what? Okay.
I mean,
if you're watching Keeping Up with Kardashians, that's what you come.
Yeah, you're like, oh, everyone looks good. You have the slow-mo moment.
Because nothing else is going on.
Yeah.
Anyway,
back to Cheat.
So, yes, it's being hosted by Amanda Holden and Paul, and the premise is couples that broke up because cheating occurred in the relationship have an opportunity to be reunited. So when the show starts, there's a bunch of people who are like, my ex has brought me here because he cheated on me and he wants another chance, yeah? But I'm mad at him. As you would imagine someone would be when they got cheated on. But the premise of the show is, maybe we can get back together. And you get into the first episode and you're like, right, what's messing with my brain a bit is you coming on this show says that you want to get back with me anyway. There was only one couple where it really felt like, why is this woman here? Because she hates him. She hates him. I mean, which is completely fair, right? You cheated on me, you broke my heart, I don't want to be with you anymore. But realistically, why are you on the show then? When they called you and they said you want to be on a show where you could get back with Craig, why did you say, yeah, that's what I want to do? Like, you wouldn't do it. So anyway, that's the premise, right? Really quickly, I'm going to cycle through, like, basically the big couples and the things that I learned and the things that I was like, this show is interesting for the conversations they're having about cheating, but ultimately, I don't think that people can move past this thing, right? Yeah. So we have Biggs and Rebecca. Biggs and Rebecca were on Love Island.
Yeah,
She's gorgeous, by the way. Yeah. She's clearly had quite a bit of work done.
Oh, 100%.
There's a scene where she goes home and you see her parents, and I was like, oh, okay, girl. But she is stunning. Biggs is fine. And Biggs has the audacity to tell her on the show, so he did not tell her beforehand. So she's the only person who turns up to the show, again, a show called Cheat, turns up to the show and is like, why am I here? And he says, by the way, when we were dating, you cheated on me. I cheated on you. And Rebecca says, I will never get over this.
Of course.
She, however, stays on the show. Yes. Goes all the way to the end. Meanwhile, she knows from day one, I will never get over this. And to be fair, the way that Biggs is moving, and the way a lot of the people who've cheated on their partners is moving, like, is like, why are you mad about this?
Yeah, it's very entitled. Like, okay, I cheated, and then we move on.
Anyway, Rebecca, clearly from episode 1 deciding that she's not going to get back with Biggs, is like, who else is here? Who else is here? She is flirting with one of the guys. I think his name is Craig. She's flirting with him. And she's like, is there something here? Because I'm really something here. He's like, oh yeah, maybe there's something here. Meanwhile, he's going back to his girlfriend and be like, Rebecca's obsessed with me. Rebecca won't leave me alone. That man, when we get to him, when I tell you, I had to turn the show off. I was so scared. I had to watch a comedy because I said, men like this exist, you know. Yeah. Anyway, by the end of the show, Rebecca has hooked up with Craig. Outside of the show, by the end of the show, it comes out that Craig and Rebecca have been flirting.
Yes. Yeah.
Biggs is like, how could you do this to me? He's also Scottish, so he has like a bit of an accent as well. He's like, I just can't believe you've done this to me. And I was like, you cheated on her while you guys were in a relationship. You are currently both single and you're mad that she's flirting with someone. He's like, what, so you don't want to get back with me? And it's like, no, I've literally been saying Like, I understood her frustration because like, I've actually given you no sign that I want to be with you. Like, I won't even let you touch you. I don't won't let you touch me. I can't even look you in the eye. There is no chemistry here. He's living in Cow Cuckoo Land. Oh, I could probably get her back. They end the show. In the reunion, you learn that her and Craig went on a date.
Okay.
They hooked up.
Okay.
During the reunion, Jazz, Craig's ex, like, oh, you slept with him? Because I slept with him too. Now everybody's looking at Craig.
Dirty.
Craig is sitting there.
Man.
Scary.
Was the reunion on Netflix or was it just?
Yeah, it was on Netflix, and there was a reunion post the show as well.
Yeah.
But the reunion was like a year after filming,
okay.
So it's part of the episode.
Oh, okay.
But in the Rebecca and Big situation, it was very much given, you cheat on me, I want to hurt you. As much as she's going to sit here and say, no, I liked Craig, and I think she did like Craig, I think they did have chemistry, she was looking for someone to hook up with to upset Biggs. Mm-hmm. You don't want to be with that man anymore. You know what you two could have done? Continued living your lives off the show.
Fam.
So that's Rebecca and Biggs. There is Kieran and Amberly, who wasn't that interesting, but basically, he had cheated on her, but he was saying, oh, but he cheated on her, she saw on a Ring camera that he brought girls back to the house.
Ring? I have a whole discussion about Ring, which I had with my siblings. If we had Ring growing up, diabolical.
Yeah, lots of people will be getting in trouble.
Diabolical.
Tell your parents you got home at 4, you actually got home at 6. Because the Ring camera clocked you coming in the house. Yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah, anyway.
He's then like to her, but you then went and stayed at your ex's house. So basically, in his head, they're cheating on both sides. In her head, there isn't. They resolve things, they end up getting back together.
Oh, nice.
Then we have Sean and Tegan. Sean and Tegan were the couple I was talking about earlier. Tegan is like, Sean met some girl. Oh, she caught him.
Oh.
She came in the house, the girl was upstairs. It's been 5 years.
Bruh.
He's brought her on the show and been like, I want to get back with you. She's given him nothing. And on the show, yeah, I'm not going to lie, I was starting to get frustrated with her. Because why are you on a show called Cheat Unfinished Business? If you don't want to be with this man, why did you take the call? Why are you here? It made me think maybe the show wasn't pitched to them as a cheat show.
I don't know.
I thought the only way you could make the show,
yeah.
the only way you could get people there is if you didn't tell them.
Yeah. Because it's not like I haven't done that before. Look at Too Hot to Handle.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I found them frustrating, but what was interesting is Jazz, who is in a relationship with Craig, who we will get to, felt very, very defensive and protective of Sean, the cheater, in that situation. And actually went up to Tegan at one point and was like, why are you being a dick to Sean? He's trying his best and you're being a dick to him. And it felt like, Tegan was kind of being a dick, but also like, why are you getting up on your high horse for a cheater? Just because you've met him and you think he's a chill dude. Yeah,
because I think that what was interesting about the premise of Cheat, they had the two islands, almost like giving Casa and more kind of feel.
But then you find out the two houses were connected the whole time.
God.
Anyway, then you have Connor and Lucia. This was the most heartbreaking one.
Okay.
So basically, Connor and Lucia have been dating since they were kids. Mm-hmm. They then broke up because he cheated on her. His story is they were moving in together. They were talking about marriage. It all got serious for him. That's why he went to cheat. It has been 3 years.
Okay.
She has tried to move on. In that time, they've hooked up a few times.
Okay.
He's come on the show now, being like, I want to see if there's still something here. At one point, Paul asked him, do you love this girl? He says, no.
Oh my God.
To her face. Shoshana. She's crying. He's just sitting there. He basically spends the entire show stringing her along. Like, so let me get it straight. You brought me on the show where you were trying to get back with me to tell me that you don't want to be with me. When I was sitting in my house.
And you called me to waste my time.
I felt for her because he was scary. He was very scary because why did you bring me here? She's obviously madly in love with him as well. Yeah. He disrespected her every episode. I felt for her. Then we have Steph and Andre. They were in a relationship. She just moved in. She found out that he'd slept with some girl. She asked him at the retreat, How many times did you sleep with her? He says 3. She gets upset. They end up getting back together. Everything goes from straight to straight.
Oh, I think I remember them. It's about couple.
Yeah. Liam and Olivia. Okay, I have so much thoughts about Liam and Olivia. Basically, Liam and Olivia have been together on and off for 10 years.
Okay.
In that time, Liam has admitted that he kissed someone. Mm-hmm. Olivia's like, what Liam doesn't know coming into the show is that I know that he fucked someone because the girlie has contacted me.
Oh.
So on the show, she says to him, have you ever cheated on me more than that one time? He's like, you're paranoid. I would never cheat on you. You're insecure. Your insecurities are what's coming up to the fore. She's like, okay, cool. I know that you cheated on me, though. He's like, you're crazy. That girl's crazy. I don't know who that is. I've never met that girl. When did I have time to cheat on you? I was with you all the time. Then they go there to the separate houses. People are like, but did you, though? And he's like, I don't remember. Then they sit down with Paul. And Paul's like, you have an opportunity to be a good man here. Did you or did not cheat on her? He was like, maybe I did. I don't remember. This guy suddenly has remembered. So when she starts saying, the girl you met her at this club, I've got receipts, he's like,
did I?
I used to get very drunk at the club.
Oh my lord.
Crazy thing is, Olivia is like, I still want to be with him. Paul literally looks her dead in the eye and says, you have low self-esteem.
Oh, thank you.
He literally said to her, get up.
She's Paul.
Like, that's my man, I'm going to stick beside him. Wow. Her friend comes to the retreat.
Yeah.
Her friend is like, obviously, like, I'm not feeling it. He then is beefing with the friend.
As always, yeah.
She sits there, lets him beef with the friend. Afterwards, the friend's like, I'm mad at her because why would you let him talk to me like that? Olivia's like, I'm cutting the friend off. Because the boyfriend was like, you can't have people like that in your life. You can't have people like that in your life, but she can keep you. Person who's cheated on her probably prolifically the whole time you were dating, and you've only admitted to this one time because she's caught you. She has the receipts. The girl's talking about what your penis looks like. Okay, cool. Bear in mind, this Liam guy wears a headband for the entirety of the show. What is under that headband? No doubt a receding hairline. This is the person you want to fight for. Oh, I know he's got a good heart. I was like, I don't understand what this relationship is about.
Yeah.
Then I saw her on the beach, yeah? And you guys know I'm a bum girly.
Yeah.
I saw Olivia's bum. I said, Olivia, hold on a second.
Oh, she have a bum?
Olivia, hold on a second. I didn't know you had it like that.
Right.
Olivia, you have gone from maybe a 5 to a 10.
Wow.
Olivia, please listen to me. You can have anybody you want. Why are you fighting over this man with no hair? Please, Olivia, get up! Olivia, get up. Olivia said, no, that's my man. And they stayed together, and at the reunion, they're still together.
Oh my gosh.
They ride off into the sunset.
Oh, I do remember his, yeah.
Then we have Dan and Rebecca C. Dan and Rebecca C. Dan went out clubbing one night and got a hotel room with 2 girls, but insists that he did not sleep with them. Rebecca's like, I still think that's cheating. He's like, why don't? Then he takes some time and writes this long ass apology where he's like, actually, yeah, I can see how you would feel upset. Then, by the end of the series, bear in mind, this couple seems like it's going from straight to straight. Yeah. They get to a bit where they're like, do you want to be with him? Do you want to be with her? He lets her go first. She says yes. Comes to him. He's like, I don't want to be with you.
What?
I've come to realise that I can't give you what you want.
Oh my god.
Why did we come on this show?
I ultimately believe that the show was pitched in a different way. There's no way you would bring me on a show that's called Cheat, and I would be like, yeah, great. I can't wait for you to cheat on me. I can't wait to find out if you have cheated on me.
It's not even that. Sometimes you know that they cheat on you. Let's see if we can work through it. But the craziest thing is these are relationships that have been done. Yeah. It's not a relationship that you're currently in that you're trying to save.
Yeah.
We broke up 4 years ago. Why have you brought me here? Yeah, I'm dating. In the reunion, because after reunion, he's like, I'm not dating anyone. Yeah. And she's like, yeah, I'm dating someone. He was like, wow, you moved on real fast. She was like, no, I was actually dating someone before we came on the show. I was dating someone before we came on the show. I stopped dating that person, came on the show to see if you were serious. You wasn't. So I went back to dating that person. And I was like, exactly. Because if you and I dated 4 years ago, I've lived a whole life since then. But then why did you come on the show? Anyway.
Money. Influence.
Last couple, Craig and Jazz. So Craig and Jazz's story is, when Jazz met Craig, he told her he was single. Mm-hmm. Then eventually he said, oh, my baby mum, lives in my house, but we're not together.
Oh my gosh.
Come to find out, he is in a relationship with the mother of his child.
Oh my lord.
And Jazz is the side gal.
Do you know what it hurts? Probably hurts on two different levels. Like, one, to find out that, you know...
He had told her he was going to break up with...
the baby mum. Okay.
No, he was going to send her... She would either break up with her or ask her to leave the house, which means that you did know that they were together. Anyway.
Excuse me.
Yeah, go on. You were going to say... I thought you were going to say something.
No, I'm feeling tired. But so, yeah.
Thank you for that. So, they go on this retreat and... Sorry. He has brought her on the show to win her back. Yeah. Meanwhile, he's flirting with Rebecca. This comes out... No, this is what he does. So they open the two villas up, right? Yeah. And now it's one villa. And people are like, oh, are you going to sleep with your partner? Whatever, you're going to sleep next to each other. He's like, I'm just going to stay in the bed I already have.
So funny.
And basically encouraged her to not sleep near him because he was sleeping near Rebecca. And Rebecca was not sleeping with Biggs.
Because they would do a little, pillow talk next to each other's bed.
So he then is flirting with Rebecca. Then he's like, oh, do you know what? We'll get to the end of the show and I'm going to have to make my big declaration. So I'm going to tell Rebecca to chill on the whole day, on the whole thing. So they have a conversation and Rebecca's kind of annoyed because she's like, you've been basically flirting with me this whole time and now you want to be like, it's not going to happen. Then he goes to Jazz and he's like, oh. Jazz is like, what? He's like, Rebecca's so clingy, man. And then Jazz is like, yeah, I've been noticing, like, you two be talking. Like, in the villa, the two of them would be talking and Jazz would be mixing with the others.
What? And also, when you're telling your side chick, or your side chick who she believes that she's the main chick, that, oh, another girl is clingy on me.
When you're actively pursuing that girlie.
Fam, it's wild. And also... If she's the side, if Jazz is a sidekick,
she was a side chick. I'm assuming now he's no longer with the baby mum, so he's able to win her back.
Making the main chick, and then Rebecca is now the side chick.
And now Rebecca's the side chick. Yeah. Anyway, at the big table when they're all together, because Jazz is a very and I don't usually like to use this word about women, but she's quite bitchy.
Oh, I didn't like the way she was talking to Tegan anyway.
Yeah. She makes a little snide comment about, like, despite the fact that Rebecca's been trying to talk to my man. Obviously, that's when Biggs finds out about this, but Rebecca...
Oh, no!
Drama. Rebecca's like, I've been trying to talk to your man, or was your man been trying to talk to me?
That's very true.
So then Jazz is like to Craig, oh, so you were talking to her? Craig's sitting there, that's not... Well, no, that's not... And then Rebecca's like, so I'm lying. This guy does all of the gaslighting 101. Yeah. It's not like that. We was having a conversation. Then Rebecca was like, ask anyone in the house. Suddenly all the people at the table are quiet. But piping up one by one. Oh yeah, I have actually seen them talking.
Oh god.
Oh, sometimes when you come over. So then Jazz was like, so everybody knew that you guys was talking. But Biggs is upset now because he's like, oh, everyone knew, no one told me. Yeah, we didn't tell you because we don't know you like that. Who cares?
That's very true, yeah.
Anyway. Biggs and Rebecca go home. The following day, Jazz is like, I can't get past this, I think. Yeah. Trying to talk to the man about it, he's like, Jazz, you're ruining it. Understand that you are now ruining what we're trying, which I'm trying to build a life with you.
That's crazy.
And you're talking to me about Rebecca. It's not that serious. She's like, I can't do this. I don't trust you. Yeah. Surprisingly, so they go home. Come to the reunion now. Craig is like, I haven't seen Jazz this whole time. Jazz was like, you gave me a key to your house. You gave me a key to your house. I was at your house the other day.
Oh my gosh.
You sent me flowers for my birthday. We hooked up.
Oh my gosh.
And Rebecca's there like, oh, you hooked up?
So did I?
Yeah, I hooked up, but we just went on a date. Date.
Oh god.
On the date, he told me he hadn't spoken to you. Craig is sitting there. I haven't spoken to her. She's like, I can show you text. It was a shit show, right? Just a shit show. And my overall feeling coming out of it was, this show feels like it's trying to tell people who are doomed, give it a second chance. Sometimes, yeah, I feel like the people that decide to be together, it wasn't that cheating is okay. It was that they decided, I like you more than I'm upset about this thing.
Yeah.
I don't think most people can get past cheating, because ultimately, every time I look at you, that's all I can think about. Mm-hmm. And a relationship is built on trust, and I no longer trust you.
Yeah.
So the show felt like it was like, oh, the person is not bad. It's the act of cheating that's bad. And it's like, no, I understand the act of cheating is bad, but you did it.
Exactly.
So that's my problem, is that you might do it again. And I got to the end of the show and I said, this show was just built to be messy. It's like the ultimatums. Like, you've built a show 100%. Where really that is just about destroying relationships.
Yeah.
And this is worse because it feels like rehashing old wounds that don't need to be rehashed because we're not together anymore. But was I entertained? Yes.
Okay.
I was entertained.
That's good.
And I do think in there's probably nuggets of interest. And I genuinely did find Liam and Olivia really interesting because I could tell immediately, like, the problem is Olivia doesn't think she's good enough for Liam. And Liam is a bomb. This guy is not even the hottest. Like, I can't stress enough. Some men are mixed race and that's their whole personality. He thinks he's bad because he's mixed race. He's not. He's not even the baddest mixed race person I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And he's bolding and he's trying to lie to us that he's bolding. He can't dress for shit either. If you actually really saw how much of a sickening bitch you was, you would actually gag at the fact that you thought that this was going to be it for you. Yeah. But Olivia has only half gone on this journey and has decided, I care more about myself, but I still want to be with this man. So they're still together. And Paul has a podcast and he did a mini reunion on there. And Rebecca was getting a lot of hate, I felt like. Yeah. Craig didn't come, of course.
Obviously.
Jazz, again, I felt like she was felt like she'd been vindicated. And I was like, I don't really know why everyone's giving Rebecca shit. He wasn't your man, though. You were coming on the show because he wasn't your man. You weren't coming on the show because you two were together. Yeah. Also, once you cheat, always cheat. Why is this Rebecca's fault that your man cheated? Your man wanted to cheat.
That's my thing, yeah.
I feel like that was my problem with Jazz. I wanted to get behind her, but you're not a girl's girl, really. Yeah. You're here you feel like people seduce people's mans. But if that's true, didn't you seduce someone's man when you was a side chick?
True.
I think it will probably come back, but I just feel like the problem for me goes back to the casting and what they're telling the people that they're casting who are coming on the show, because I feel like it is a kind of a really clear-cut opportunity to be famous where you have no intention of actually doing any of the relationship stuff. Oh, yeah. And as a dating show, I do think dating shows do require some relationship. It can't just be people wanting to be famous. Yeah. That's why Love Island has kind of sunk into the sea recently, because the people are not coming on there looking for love no more.
They're looking for influencer deals.
And I want a dating show that does look for love.
Yeah.
So that is my review of Cheat.
Yeah.
Speaking of shows looking for love, we also have both watched the Honesty Box.
Yes.
So explain the concept for the Honesty Box.
Okay, so the Honesty Box was on Channel 4.
Yes.
It was hosted by Vicky Patterson from Geordie Shore. Which, I'll be honest...
These faces... it don't move.
It don't move at all. And the thing is, okay, we're going to talk about the premise, but with Vicky, when you've watched her in Geordie Shore, and she was doing like the VO and the... what do you call it? What's that thing when you
narration?
The narration, yeah. But what's that thing? What's the actual technical term when you go into the
you said voiceover.
Yeah, she does the voiceover.
You said it's VO.
Yeah, so I thought that's like another term when people go in and like re-record their voices to.
That is.
It's not ad lib. It's ads. No.
You keep going.
Anyway, that yeah. So anyway, she's doing her voiceover, and I'm like, this person that's speaking sounds a little bit northern, but also very southern. Like, it's a southern with like a northern twang.
She's softened her accent.
She really has. And I was like, when I first saw her, I was like, but I know this Vicky. I know the original Vicky. Like, who is this girl? Like, very, very polished.
ADR.
That's it. ADR. And I was like, my gosh. That even shocked me a little bit. But anyway, the premise of the show is supposed to kind of like combat the whole notion that dating, in 2025 or 2024 is about you know, the fact that people lie a lot
Yeah.
when it comes to dating.
Present a version of yourself.
Exactly, bring your representative and not necessarily being honest on dating apps. And the whole idea of the honesty box is that you are being your most honest and transparent self. The main rule is you are on I think you're in a villa.
It's always a villa.
Probably in
There's
Greece.
A villa in Cheeks.
Yeah,
well. Why does it have to be a villa in I Kiss the Boy?
Yeah, it's always a bit. Yeah, but they need to hold them somewhere.
Yeah,
it needs to be.
But why can't it be the Big Brother house? Just like one big room where you guys are all in there, just going crazy.
Yeah, but I feel like you need to be like it needs to be like summer love type of thing.
Yeah,
summer vibe.
Aesthetic.
So they're on this beautiful villa, and in the garden where you have the pool, there is this little honesty box area where, over the course of the time, each contestant may be asked to come into the honesty box and be asked certain questions about their relationship, what they've done in the past, how they feel about other contestants, and all they have to be is completely honest.
It's a lie detector
and
test,
and it's a lie detector test. They have signals that can up to 89% accuracy to see whether they're telling the truth or not. If they're not telling the truth, then they risk losing money, which
the money aspect,
that's my big issue.
Very confusing.
The stakes were not there, because basically what Vicky would say is that, you know, if you don't tell the truth,
was lose money.
Yeah, the whole time. If you don't say the truth, you will lose, you know, X amount of money. It first started off with, okay, you're gonna get £1,000 or £2,000 in the pot if you be honest. Then they just kept on lying and kept on losing the money. Then they kept on upping it to like 5,000, 10,000, and I was like, this money isn't enough. This money isn't big enough for stakes. And what made?
But why would I come on a show where I could win money to not win money? I
Exactly.
couldn't get my head around why people were actively lying, because they made it seem like the more important thing to them was lying.
Exactly. Like, it's about the lies.
But I came here to get cash.
Yeah. Because it's more of it's a game show, but with a reveal or like unveiling of a dating show, or like disguised as a dating show. But the thing is, the last show that has had that premise but it's worked really well, especially in the early seasons, was Too Hot to Handle, where the prize fund I think was it 100k? It was a high amount, and the whole purpose was if you keep on having sex, you will lose the money.
Yes.
So I feel like it started off really high and the stakes were high. Of course, there was
I've not watched Too Hot to Handle. Do they put people in there who were trying to make you have sex, or no? You're
with contestants where everyone wants to have sex. Yeah,
but there's not someone deliberately in there trying to get you to lose money.
It's not like Temptation Island. Okay. No, it's like these. But they're described as like sex obsessed people who like they have basically, but they're like one step away from being sex addicts. They're being asked to come on this show where
make a TV show like that.
Exactly, you're asked to come on this show where you're going to focus on love and you can't do anything physical. Mm-hmm. And if you do anything physical, you'll lose money, and Lana the cone will decide how much money is lost. They'll also reveal who had sex.
Yeah.
I think that's what the stakes are. And you know, it was an American, British, and also included.
Did they vote people out?
There was times when the people were voted out. But that wasn't like the main format. It wasn't like each week someone would get let go.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So it made it interesting because actually.
So how did they choose who won the money at the end?
It was the person who I think at the end everyone voted for the
person who they like the most, or the person who abstained from sex the most? I think it was
pretty much that. The person who had grown the most in the whole process. Mm. That part of it was always a bit iffy, and also I think it was a couple. Were there a couple or individual person that won? See,
the smart thing would be if we were all going to win this money and share it, then I have an incentive to not fuck. Yeah. But if I know at the end of this there's still going to be a vote and I could lose the vote, then why wouldn't I just be like, yeah, I don't even really care about this?
Yeah, because actually, let me see. I thought that there definitely was a winner. I know there definitely was a winner. But it was a couple. Sorry, it was a couple that won the final prize. And they were chosen by the other contestants, yeah.
Like a perfect match.
Pretty much, yeah. And I think it's also to do with like who's grown the most, a couple that was had to abstain the most. And it felt like there was that premise to it. And even with Honesty Box, there was also a couple that won at the end. And was that based on a vote? That part I can't remember. No, that wasn't. It wasn't based on the vote. I think it was just based on like the couple that was like the most honest all the way through.
Right.
And, yeah. So my thing about Honesty Box, because of that premise, the premise itself was interesting. The stakes wasn't high enough. So each time people would lie. And one thing to add is with the Honesty Box, when any contestants go into the box, all the other contestants can see them. So if you
sometimes.
Most of the time, actually.
No, because remember, then they have these like fire pit sessions where you could ask to see someone's.
No, but I mean, like, even when you're in the box,
if they were telling a truth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's only when you get to the fire pit section you can vote to see who you thought was a liar, and
whether or not they were. Yeah, like,
exactly. And then you go through all their questions and then see whether they were telling the truth or not. So the premise was like, yeah, don't lie, get money, and the couple that is the most truthful will win. It's a simple premise, but the stakes weren't high enough, and the prize money wasn't either like that. The prize money was not attractive, in my opinion. I think they won with like 20k or 25k.
The prize money was like a weird. I agree with you. I found the prize money to be like a weird thing to introduce, but then I understand because the premise being like people have to tell the truth. It's like, well, what incentive do they have to tell the truth? It's like, oh, because they're going to win money.
Yeah.
It's like, but clearly that wasn't enough of an incentive for people to tell the truth.
No.
So the experiment didn't quite work. But
yeah, in terms of the couple, so I will quickly start off with the people that first joined the Honesty Box. Of course, there were some people that came afterwards. Mm-hmm. Firstly, you had Chantal, who she's 28 from London. She is all about her faith. That was something that was really important to her, and something that she kind of talks about throughout later parts of the episode was like she's not like the most affectionate.
She grew up in foster care.
Yeah, so those things about her that she just breaking the barrier of like kissing was like a big thing. I was almost felt like when she was talking, I was like, for someone who's 28, I assumed that she was a little bit younger, even with the way that she was just describing herself, and also like she seemed a little bit socially awkward when it came to romantic relationships. But I think with the girls and everyone, like friendship wise, she was cool. But when it came to like, the relationship aspect, when there was a guy that she was starting to get interested in, she was like almost like shy about it, which can be relatively relatable. She first matched with a guy called Maldini, who
Captain Smiles.
Fam.
He was just grinning about everything all the time.
Yeah, always grinning. He was there for a laugh. He was there for a good time, but not a long time.
He wrote a letter to someone else and then the girl pied him. Embarrassing.
So embarrassing.
Embarrassing. I've been like, send me home now.
No shade, no tea. No shade and no tea, but I honestly thought that he was for the girls.
Yeah,
when I first saw him,
something about him just was giving. I don't know. I didn't know about him. I get why you said that. I just think he was a bit too smiley. Like, I know that sounds weird, but like you have to watch the show to get what I mean by that. Like, what are you grinning about? It's not giving serious person.
No, he wasn't at all. And I think when he first joined the show, he was like he kind of positioned himself as being like. I think he was positioning himself like he wants to have a good time, but he was open to love.
He also he thought he was going to come in there and eat.
Yeah, exactly. And that did not happen at all.
Really checking for him like that.
But that being said, equally, he was not checking for people. He was definitely...
No, he was checking for a girlie that was already with someone else that she was into.
That's true. But he was giving me also the vibes of like, I'm just happy to have a good time. Like, he barely flirted with Chantal.
Yeah, to the point where she likes white girls.
That was the big thing, yeah. After my initial thing of me thinking he didn't like the girls, then I realised, he doesn't like... the girls, like our girls.
That girls.
DA girls. Yeah, he wasn't interested in those type of girls. So yeah, he was kind of a bit more of like, again, here for a good time, not particularly for a long time. And then we had Jake. Yeah, there is it. Then we had Jacob, who, I'll be honest, he kind of matched very quickly with his person, and I can't remember what her name was.
You could skip the boys.
Yeah,
because I don't really remember them.
And also, there was a period when they all looked alike.
They did!
And I was like, losing
the will
to live.
I was like, what the fuck? And even some of the girls, I was like, also, no shade.
Yeah.
something's a bit off.
Yeah, the contestants they seemed nice, but they were not memorable in the slightest.
It was giving people who would apply to Love Island but would never get on Love Island.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm just gonna just rust on the names of the guys. So we had Jacob, we had Kane, Richie, Tobias, and Tommy. And then the girls' wise, we had Jessie May,
like if
Noelle.
you have a Jess and you have a Jessie May, you should just make them change their name. Like that's just confusing.
It's just Jess and Jess, yeah. Rose and Vicky.
Oh, yeah, Rose kept doing that annoying thing with her mouth. That was really annoying. Although I thought she was very pretty.
Yeah.
She just did like this thing with her mouth that I found really annoying.
Wait, what was she doing?
She would just be like she was always like that. Like her top lip was like curled up all the time, and I was like, just shut your mouth.
I know. She's Noelle. I think she's Italian. She was the one that wanted to just climb up a man.
No, I'm talking about Rose.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. I'm
I like Noelle. She was very Italian.
Noelle was very Italian.
That's why she was so forward. Like,
British
girls are stush. There's no way you're bringing a girl from London there. She's gonna go up to a man and be like, I want to climb him. Are you mad?
Exactly. She was like, no, I know I want to climb him.
She said, that's what I want.
Exactly.
And that's what I get.
And as soon as she saw Richie, she was like, no, that's the kind of guy I want. The guy that I've been matched with, he's not my type at all. I think she was matched with Jacob.
Again, I did find at the beginning of the series, why did you not double check if people were people's types? No. Because Jacob was given, I don't like black girls. I think he said, she's not my type. No. I would never approach her in real life. Like, some of the language was just given, and why is she not your type?
Because she black. Because also, like, there was definitely someone who was like, oh, my type is blonde hair, blue eyes. I was like, oh, back again. We're back again with the Nazis.
I told you, it's recession indicator.
Yeah, but still.
Blonde hair, blue eyes.
It still was wild. But yeah, Noelle seemed to get on really well with Richie in that first episode. And I was like, there's a real connection here because Richie isn't really feeling his pair. So maybe there's something there.
Match made in heaven.
Exactly. So the honesty box did ask, did they ask Rose first or Richie? Well, anyway, if they fancy someone else in the house, and they basically said, I think Richie had said, yeah, he was interested. And they then eventually became a couple.
Noelle and
Richie. But then it still became messy because Richie's partner, she was like, these guys are now going behind my back almost. Yeah, but so she wasn't interested in him.
Richie had spoken to another guy who was like, I want your girl, you want mine, so let's swap. Yeah. So I guess it's Jacob then, if Jacob and Noelle were together.
It was,
And then the honesty box played the clip of them talking about. Oh no, the honesty box asked them, "Have you talked about girlfriend swapping?" Yeah. And the guy said yes. Yeah. And then the girls were upset, but then ultimately they did want to be with those guys, so that felt like drama for drama's sake. Yeah. So yeah, Noelle ends up with Richie and Jacob ends up with whoever Richie was with.
Yeah. But as soon as Noelle and Richie got together, I'm perfectly honest, this is the only couple I really cared about. My friend has now died.
Same. Okay.
Oh, yeah. As soon as Richie and Noelle got together, Richie was distant. Wasn't affectionate in the slightest.
He says in the confessional, oh yeah, being with Noelle's made me realise I really miss my ex. And I was like, get off the show!
Exactly. That is exactly what he revealed and started crying like, yeah, I just really miss my ex. So very soon after, when it came to voting of someone off, they wanted to find out if Richie was telling the truth, because I think Richie had gone into the honesty box, and I think the honesty box asked him, does he actually care about Noelle? And he said, yeah, I do. And everyone was like, yeah, that's a lie, because he was just so like nonchalant.
No affection. Absolutely. Wouldn't even touch her. Yeah. Just suddenly went from like, he honestly strikes me as a person who like likes the
chase.
Yeah, likes the chase, likes the the grass is greener elsewhere, and then when the elsewhere is home, it's like, I don't want this no more.
Yeah, and he was like, okay, no, I'm gonna go now. So that became really messy, and then eventually, when it came down to voting someone off the first time, it was almost like a toss up between. For the guys, it was a toss up between Maldini and Richie, and then Richie was voted off. And then when Richie
was Noelle done with him at this point, or did they just?
No, yeah, Noelle was kind of done with him, because she was really like, I don't think you like me. Everyone in this house believes, and it's very clear that you're not interested. Even though Vicky, our host, then eventually reveals that Richie never lied the whole time.
I don't think he lied at all. No. I think he did like her. He says in his confessionals, I like her, but like, I want to take things slow. I always take things slow. And then equally, in the back of his mind, he's thinking about his ex.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
That's the problem. And he
should have gone home for that reason alone. Yeah. But he wasn't a liar.
Yeah, and I think everyone was like, oh my gosh, we've let someone go home who actually told the truth when there's bare lies among everyone. Everyone lied.
Everyone lied.
From Chantal was
the first person to lie.
Exactly. The whole point of like, oh, did you like more than one person at the same time? She lied that she hadn't. Because I think once you can see in the honesty box that you can be seen when you're answering the questions, people start changing their answers.
Yeah, because either they tell the truth and they have to deal with the consequences now, or they lie and maybe they don't have to deal with the consequences because they don't get picked at the fire pit.
Exactly. And that was a toss up throughout the whole series. So yeah, when Richie left, I was like,
they're like, turn this off.
I was like, to me, I was getting bored. And then there was the second big like blow up was between Kane, Jessie May, and some other girl. Can't tell you what her name is. I'm going to say maybe Jess.
She came in the middle.
She came in the middle. So the new girl, and Kane was really into. I'm going to say Jessie May. I think it was. He was really into... I didn't
like him. He was scary.
He was super into her because he was like, that's the guy I wanted from the very beginning. He was like locked in. And then this new girl came in, head immediately turned.
Which Jessie May was like, I feel like your head would turn when someone came in. He's like, no.
And he was like, yeah, exactly what happened. And even in the honesty box, he said something along the line of like, I basically believe I can get any girl I want. And he was like, no, I wouldn't say that. That's a lie.
Yeah.
The lie detector determined that was a lie. So, all those things. And then he ended up chatting to the new girl for a little bit. Like, literally, they went around the corner in the villa, having this little, like, private chat. And everyone in the villa was like, what is he doing? Literally went around the corner to find him. And then for the rest of the season, all three of them were beefing. Like, Jessie May was beefing with Kane, saying like, why did you do this to me? I've had trauma of being cheated before. You're really like triggering my insecurity.
Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
Do they ever make it clear how much time is passing? Because it feels like days are passing and people are acting like, oh, you really hurt me. You've been in a relationship, quote unquote, with this guy for 5 days.
Yeah, I got the impression that like the whole filming probably was within 2 weeks because it was so short. They were talking about they were talking.
Yeah,
like,
it felt like it was in days. So like, I don't get the drama of like, especially when you first come in and you've been matched for someone. I would probably be like, it's a likelihood that you're not my person.
Yeah.
Why am I gonna take it personally that someone's coming to the villa? Especially if I said deep down I knew that you was that guy. So obviously you was hoping he wasn't that guy.
Exactly.
And now you're hurt because you tricked yourself.
Yeah. Because like, oh, I've had so much like insecurities and I've been cheated on before.
Yeah.
I get it. It definitely hurts, and that probably had triggered some of the pain from it. And I think there's several girls in the house that have experienced it, so Jessie May could talk on it more and be able to like relate with other girls. But because it was dragged on throughout the whole thing, everyone was frustrated with Kane and Jessie May and the third girl. As eliminations happened, of course, Maldini was let go at one point because, again, he was bringing nothing. Honestly, he was there for jokes and just giggles. And then Kane was... No, they let go...
Richie
had gone. Maldini, Jessie May left, and then Kane was like, oh, I'm going to leave with her because basically the new girl actually left first, I think. Kane already rejected the new girl. As soon as Jessie May found out about the Kane about to cheat with the new girl, Kane the next day was like, oh no, Jessie May was always you. It was just like, it was so convoluted, and because, no shade, I wasn't like invested in anyone.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
No, I couldn't care.
The same.
Couldn't care about anyone.
I think that this show really struggled with setting these characters apart enough in a way that you would care about them. Like Noelle, you're right. I don't know what it was about Noelle, but Noelle was the one that I was just like, oh, I felt like there was something genuine in her interest in him and his interest in her. And I was like, oh my god, what if they end up being?
That's the thing.
The Lauren and Cameron Honesty Box.
I think we need to stop. I think Lauren and Cameron is a diamond in a dozen. It's a unicorn. We may never see another Lauren and Cameron because it was just so pure. But everyone who's come on these shows is not. I think Noelle came in for pure intentions, but Richie was like, I'm here to get over my ex. Realised, looked around and said, none of you guys are even close to
I love my ex so much.
And I would love to see how the ex looks. Yeah. Probably not like Noelle. No offence.
Yeah.
At the end of the series, Jovan, who's a new guy that entered after Maldini, and he clicks really well with Chantal, and it's a kind of cute like getting to know each other journey over this course of days. Chantal gets really shy because she eventually wants him to kiss her, and then they have this like kind of awkward kiss moment, and then I think throughout the course of the time, it's very clear that they didn't lie as much. They were more of a transparent couple, and then they end up winning.
That's
but
nice.
It was cute, but perfectly honest, like this show is not distinctive. And mind you, I do think they put another at the end of Honesty Box. They did a casting call at the end.
If you want to be the next season of Honesty Box,
and I was like, this show does not deserve a series 2.
It's lacking something.
Yeah, depth.
Like it just felt very flat. It felt very 2-dimensional. I think the premise is too convoluted.
Exactly.
I think clearly people are not understanding. There's no, like you said, no incentive to not lie.
Yeah, the stakes was not high enough, and even when they tried to get depth, like they would in Too Hot to Handle, where they would have like sessions where they would kind of like break down how they see love and relationships.
They wear those white clothes.
Yeah, kind of those
Weird.
things. They had a kind of therapist called Lucinda who was there to like be. She was very woo woo.
She was very woo woo,
but also
her job is that she's a wedding officiant. And I was
I knew.
Sorry, does that mean that you?
I knew it was rubbish. I knew she was either acting. She's not Paul C. Bronson. Like she's not on that caliber. And when she was talking, it was just very like.
Yeah, it didn't help that she was Australian as well, so her accent always sounded woo woo. Anyway, I was just like, to the point.
To the point, the contestants were even making fun of it. So it was like no one's taking this seriously.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you have Vicky, who's like talking about anytime someone's getting eliminated or someone's saying, "Oh, I'm really hurt that I got cheated on." She's there crying with them, going like, "I really feel your pain."
Yeah, there was an early episode where she was like, "I am fuming that they've lied." And now they've lost this much. But like, it felt like she was the only person who understood what the show was and was taking it seriously.
Yeah, and at times there was like a slow mo of her walking up to like see the villa, and I was like, "You're not Maya Jama. Like, please sit down. You are not Maya."
Well, Maya Jama is about to be in the new season of The Gentleman. So maybe they'll need a new Maya Jama
potentially because she's in her acting bag. But I think for me,
the world is crumbling.
I know, honestly. But yeah, overall, I just feel like. This is not something that I will remember on Channel 4. It's not a memorable format.
It's not a highlight.
It's not. I think if they come back for Series 2, which it looks like they may, I would say increase the money. Start with the money first. Like start with that. Like you have 20 or 30,000 or 50,000 pounds. The more you lie, the more you lose 1,000, 2,000, and work downwards and work upwards because for most of the series. They were on 0.
Yeah.
I was getting worried.
I think also, do you know what you should do? You should get actual couples.
Yeah, that will also help.
Because then the stakes would be like, I don't want to lie. I don't want to be caught in the lie, so I'm going to either lie.
Oh, yeah.
Like, because I feel like the problem is, partly to me, the thing that I was struggling with is, why lie when you've known this person for a day? Whereas if you've known this is your person you're going to have to go home with, and you're not... Yeah. And the Honesty Box is asking messy questions. Like, is there anybody else here that you think is hot?
So that's basically cheat.
Yeah, but with a lie detector and money.
That's true.
And then it makes sense that the couples applying being like, I feel like we could withstand this.
That's true. Okay, actually, so
I feel like nothing could...
It's basically a mixture of... Sorry to interrupt you.
No, please go.
Excuse me. It's a mixture of Cheat Ultimatum, Honesty Box, of course, and Too Hot to Handle.
Yeah.
Basically.
We've just helped you fix your format.
Fam.
And then you would absolutely be launching the careers of interesting couples because the couple that sits at home and sees that and goes, we could do this.
Yeah, exactly. And they bring Paul C. Bronson on for like the serious moments. And then I don't know about Vicky, but like I don't want Amanda Holden. I found one thing about going back to Cheat Unfinished Business.
Get someone from the show, from a dating show.
Exactly.
Getting Vicky, like, not that obviously she has experience in TV. It's just weird. Why her?
The girl that's doing, is it Sneaky Links? Is the girl from Too Hot to Handle? Yeah. So Chloe. But one thing about Amanda Holden on Cheat. Every time she'll make comments like, oh, I can't believe they even cheated. I was sitting there going, the irony, you did the exact same thing.
But, sorry, she was dating Les Dennis.
I know, it's crazy. The thing is, if you were in a particular era, you will understand like how crazy it was.
Nuts.
And when
they're not even the same age.
No. It was just wild.
Crazy.
So
behavior.
I would say, like, Honesty Box, it was a no for me. It lacked the distinctiveness of a dating show.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you have nothing to watch it, but I don't know if I would recommend it.
I wouldn't recommend it. I think the other show that was more distinctive on Channel 4 as a, not even a dating format, but just like social experiment, was more Virgin Islands, which I know it depends on time.
Please do.
I'm going to be very quick on Virgin Island.
So, just to clarify, Virgin Island is not a dating show.
It's not a dating show. It's more of
just a show for virgins to get fingered. Because that's what I saw a review being like, whoa, I did not think Virgin Island was going to be about people touching up these virgins. And I was like, what the fuck is this show?
Yeah, it's wild. I would describe it more of a, like, it's not a social experiment. It's like a social retreat. Because, you have about...
That they film and put on TV. What's the concept?
The concept, again, is a social retreat where you have about 12 to 14 different virgins who go on this island.
And are these virgins people who've not even kissed someone before?
I think some of them have kissed, some of them have...
in out.
I think they haven't... I think, to clarify, I think they've not had penetrative sex. And I get the impression that majority of them have not had any type of sexual...
experience. But isn't kissing kind of sexual?
Well, how are you kissing?
Don't worry about it, baby.
No, I mean, like...
If you do it right.
Yeah, true. I think majority of them have not had any type of...
No anal,
no blow, no...
No blow is so funny. Sorry.
No blow. No mouth, no...
Finger.
No finger. Basically, no sexual acts. It's more like maybe they've had a relationship where they've kissed, but that's as far as it's gone. And you start to understand a bit of, like, how and why they've got to the stage in their lives. They're fully grown adults, so majority of them are in their 20s, late 20s. Range? I think it's like from early 20s. I think maybe the youngest is like 23.
Why are you even on the show?
All the way to like 30.
You should be
late
virgin.
30s.
You're 23.
Yeah, but I think in society, most people are losing their virginities at uni. So
that's not your business, though. You'll lose your virginity. You'll lose your virginity when it's time to lose your virginity. Why are you looking at what someone else is doing?
Which is very true. And then some of them...
Unless it's that you want to, I guess.
Yeah, I think I got the impression for some of them it's like they wanted to.
They just haven't.
But they just haven't had the opportunity to, or they feel... I think there was one contestant that I felt like he felt pressure because he had told people at work that he had not had sex, and then...
Everyone was like...
Stupid. Again,
what?
But again, you remember you have to go back to this workplace after this retreat.
And now they can be like, oh yeah, I saw you getting fingered at
Wow. And then
I don't know if this happens on the show. I haven't seen it.
Some people do get and then there's also some contestants where it's like some of it is mental or physical, so they may have insecurity about their weight. Some, I think for one of the women's, I think they suspected that she has vaginismus, which is like a condition where it's very hard for you to be able to penetrate inside the vagine. And then for some of them, it was like questions around their sexuality. So I think 3 of them came out as queer in some
Sorry, it would be so funny to go on a TV show and be like, I'm straight, and the minute that you do it, oh, no, I hate this. Turns out I was gay the whole time. That's crazy. Thanks so much.
Yeah, I think definitely for 2 of the girls, it's just like, I think I've realised that, that like guys are just not for me. Or like one came out as bisexual, one came out as gay, fully gay. Or like I think they went for the spectrum. Then one guy was trying to question his sexuality, or maybe his mask of femme presentation.
Because he was non-binary?
Yeah, he's like I
they
think
are non-binary.
Yeah, he's like, I think he never finished with the label. He never confirmed the label. He was just like, he knows that he's a man, but he's straight, but he also has femme qualities.
Yeah.
And he wasn't too sure where he stands, but he doesn't want to put labels because I think it has impacted how his relationships has been in the past. But so there was that, and then there was also like some guys who were like I'm just not where I want to be in my life. I've either he went to university,
got around a car. No, I'm being a bit
Bruh.
silly, but that is actually such a funny reason not to have sex with
He's
someone.
like, no, he went to university, but then he's doing the job that he doesn't want to do. And he's just been in odd jobs ever since. And that's pretty much like he's just not where he wants to be in his life.
So if a beautiful girl came up to him,
he doesn't have the self-esteem to believe.
Okay, he's just Okay.
And then there's some.
I thought you just meant that he was like, please, I don't work, I'm not a manager. I can't have sex with you until I'm a manager. What don't you understand about that?
I think like he's just more like, I just don't feel like I'm maybe for him he's like, I don't feel like I bring anything to the table. And this one guy, he's like, doesn't feel comfortable being naked in front of anyone.
Doesn't have to be naked.
That's true.
In Arrested Development, isn't Tobias never nude? He wears shorts, or those denim shorts all the time. You never have to be naked if you don't want to.
Arrested Development is like it's a corner of the industry that I didn't even appreciate it, but when I watched it like much later in life, and I was like, wow, this is actually so funny. No, I think I'm gonna watch it during the pandemic.
I watched the new season during the pandemic, but I probably had watched it not long before.
Yeah, so I didn't watch the new one. I feel like I find it hard with some of the shows that come back. That I can't.
Because everyone's old.
You're making me sound superficial. Sometimes it's just not as good. Like Just Like That is terrible.
Oh, well,
I watched one season. Why ruin something that was so precious?
But that's why it wasn't called Sex and the City. It was called Just Like That, because that's a different show.
Yeah, true. And Just Like That, I stopped watching that. So,
Just Like That, TV off.
Absolutely. So yeah, I think it was a really interesting.
Do you think that the show had a positive impact on the people on it?
I think, yeah. I think at the end you definitely saw that, because, yeah, they end up going on this retreat in Greece. They meet this team of experts, so like sexperts and surrogate partners who basically are in a space where they can have sexual acts with these people, and one of them does end up like going all the way and like having sex with the girl, with the woman, not the girl, the woman. And sometimes it's just to be able to have therapists there to be able to like speak to them, find out a bit more about themselves, why they are the way they are, what issues they've experienced in their lives, what traumas, and then they'll also have like group sessions where like just naked people will come out, or they'll show like positions being done, like sex positions, or they'll show like, you know, how to pin someone against the wall and like have a moment. It was a lot. And you could sit when they had those group moments, you could tell every single one of the virgins were like, this is hell. It's
interesting because I always think, virginity has a lot of like connotations, and there's lots of reasons why people are virgins. And I think so often the narrative is like, you haven't found a girl, or you haven't found a person to sleep with. And actually, I think for a lot of people there is a lot of just discomfort around their sexuality, and like what you're describing with the idea of like people doing sex positions in front of you might make you be like, I want to leave. That's just discomfort. Yeah. It's not the inability to meet someone. It's just like, I'm just like,
this is not me.
Do I have to do this?
Yeah, this is not something that I feel comfortable doing.
I have to do this?
Yeah, and some of it is like the misconception of sex. So at one point they brought like diagrams of like a vulva and showed like the different parts of the anatomy, and then they had a real life person come and open her legs and like show them.
I'm gonna be honest, the stuff that you're describing would actually make me want to be a virgin. Like the stuff that you're describing is making me want to abstain.
Like I cannot.
I don't want to look at inside of somebody's vagina.
And then there's also the penis one as well, because the guy also came, showed his penis and was like, these are the kind of things that like I really like, that gets me off.
Oh.
It honestly, it was a lot.
The kind of things I like.
Yeah, not telling them what to do it to him. It's just like, this is.
Was he masturbating in front of them?
No.
Oh.
He would. No. That was not.
No,
absolutely not.
Well, the way you described it, I just imagine he was just in there being like, this is what I like. Oh my god.
No, he just literally stood there and he was like, this is my penis and this is my balls.
No, I understand what penis is. That's not what is the problem.
But I think someone asked the question like, "Oh, do you like basic? Sorry, so like explicit.
Fingering your bum?
No, I think somewhat on the dark side, but do you like the balls in your mouth, or what do you like with oral wise? And he was like, I like when this is done, this is done. I was like, oh my gosh.
And the problem here, of course, is just because this man likes this
does
not mean that every man likes it. No. So even you taking notes in this room is for you to prepare to have sex with only this man. Like, everyone is so different. Exactly. I don't know if there is a class that you can take. I don't think there is, but you're saying that people have had positive experience, and I think that's a good thing ultimately.
I think at the end of this show, like,
they do a post credits of how many people fucked.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So it's like one person lost their virginity on the show.
Yes.
Three extra virgins lost their virginity after the show.
Congratulations.
Some people got into relationships.
But no sex.
What do you mean?
But no sex.
No. The thing is, they never told us who had sex, so you had to make this. You was trying to think like maybe the people that got into relationships did it. Some people were like just open to dating and started going speed dating. Some people were like, got confidence, or some people just went travelling afterwards.
Do you know what? Look at all these penises made me think I should go around the world to get away from this.
And they all seem to travel to Australia for some weird random reason.
That's where the uncut penises are. This makes sense.
But honestly, do you know what? It was only 6 episodes. We thank God. But it was more enjoyable for me to watch than Honesty Box.
I appreciate that.
Because I think even though it wasn't a dating show, and actually there was some potential romance between some of the virgins, but I think they didn't go anywhere. Sorry, unfortunately. But like, I think I like the premise, and I mean I like the premise.
Yeah, I know you do.
No. I
you love the idea of people sitting around looking at someone's penis.
I appreciate the premise. It was at times it was a bit too much. Like fast forwarding has to happen. Like especially when, like the woman, one of the surrogate partners is teaching the other guy how to like finger her. I was like, oh, this is so much.
Are you seeing her fingering her? No. Okay.
You just like seeing toes and you're seeing facial reactions, and then you'll see like they'll cut to like the ocean. Like
because the ocean is connected with sexuality.
Exactly. Like when the guy had sex and like eventually,
fireworks.
Yeah, it was like there was a moment when the tide was coming in, and that was the shot. I was like, the cameraman was like,
the editors were having a ball. Like, this is hilarious. This is hilarious.
But let's look at the sounds in, so it was all going down. But out of all the Channel 4 shows I've watched, that was more interesting than Honesty Box.
Interesting that you are talking about another Channel 4 show, because the next show I was going to talk about was another Channel 4 show in a similar vein to the one you discussed, but like much more X-rated.
Bruh.
So I watched Open House, the first 3 episodes of the new season of Open House, and the premise for Open House is couples that are looking to open up their relationship come to this, again, a retreat where there are other people who practice polygamy or polyamory, polyamory, and can basically meet them and start to and open up their relationship. This is season 3.
Oh my gosh!
This is season 3.
Yeah.
I watched the first episode. I was not familiar with the premise, and there are 2 couples that come on. One of them is a couple that have been together for a while. They've just bought a house together, or they've just moved in together, talking about a ring, which I just think, don't even include that. I just not even want to tell people about that. He has a child from a previous relationship, and he cheated on her.
Wow.
And she caught him.
Okay.
And they have basically discussed that he is a guy who likes to
cheat.
Yeah. So why don't they open up the relationship? Which I think is not how that works. Anyway. So they go to this retreat and they send them to different mixers. Yeah. She meets some men, he meets some women. End of the night. So you have the option at the end of every mixer to go to this yurt. Yeah. Which is on the grounds of the retreat but not in your room.
Yeah.
And he takes 3 women to the yurt that he's just been vibing with that night. And then they all have sex.
3
women. When I say they all have sex, you see tits, you see arse, like you see them naked, you see rutting, you hear everything.
Sounds like Temptation Island.
Yeah.
But even worse.
Intense. You see full frontal.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And he goes back to his partner afterwards, and he's like, "Did you have a good night?" And she's like, "No, it's kind of boring. What was your night like?" He was like, "Oh, I just went back to the yurt." She's like, "Oh, what did you do in the yurt?" She's like, "He was like, oh, I had sex with 3 people." And she's like, "3 people?" And he was like, "Yeah." And she starts crying.
Of course she
like,
would.
You've embarrassed me. I was like, what the fuck did you think was going to happen on the show? Anyway, the next night, they go to a mixer together.
Yeah.
And she's like, "We're going to pick someone for us to be with." And they pick one of the women that he had sex with the night before.
Yeah.
She comes back to their room, and the 3 of them have a threesome.
Wow.
And you see that.
Wow.
You see the threesome. The other couple is a guy and a girl. They've been together since they were kids. They're at 27.
Yeah.
And she has started, or she's always felt that she might be bi. So they've come to the retreat to find a woman to open up a relationship to. Again, go to separate mixers. He's got girls at his mixer. She's got girls at her mixer.
Okay.
She's kind of shy at first. Actually, no, they go to the same mixer. She's talking to some girls. He's talking to some girls.
Okay.
She feels shy at first, and then she invites 2 women back to the yurt, and
the yurt is getting busy,
and has sex with them.
Wow.
Meanwhile, the husband is just in bed.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I'm freaking out. I thought this is actually much harder than I thought it was going to be.
Oh my gosh.
She comes back. She's like, "I had a whale of a time. I'm definitely bi."
Oh my.
So cool. Loved it. Literally, the son was so fun, and he's like, "Yeah, no." Yeah, no.
Breaking inside.
Yeah. So the next day, he goes to a mix by himself.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't. He has a date with one of the girls from the mixers. She gets naked immediately. Just like, "Do you want a massage?" There's lots of massaging. Like, I don't think massages are sexy, and I don't like people touching me, so I would just be like, no, I don't want a massage. But he takes off her clothes, he takes off his clothes, she takes off her clothes, she gives him a massage. There's a lot of like sort of rubbing on each other, but he can't go all the way.
Yeah.
So he goes back to his partner, and he's like, "Yeah, it was a hot day, like we kissed and stuff, but I couldn't get it up really, because I was just thinking about you." So then they invite her to hook up with them. Okay. And then all 3 of them have sex.
Wow.
And there was one point where he went into the bathroom, this before the thing properly started, but the girl had come in, he went into the bathroom. When he came back, his wife's naked, the girl's naked, they're making out. And he was like, "Oh, they started without me." And I was like, what the hell is this show? What is happening? And even, what I think is really interesting is, I've always felt this about threesomes, right? You can't literally put your penis in 2 people at once.
No.
So at some point, one person is just like
chilling, or they have to like make do.
Yeah. So there's a point where he's fucking his wife, and then the other girl is just like fingering herself next to them. Okay. And I was like, I just feel like you could do this at home. Like, why would I leave my house, put on the outfit, come here just to be sat next to you while you're fucking someone else, being like, "Let me in. Let me be part of it."
I thought they were just trying, or she would just try and engage with one of them.
No, so there was points where she was like making out with the wife and do stuff with the wife, but actually when it came to the sex, you only have the one penis. True. So only one person can at any one time, and the other person just has to be like, ooh, next to you. Like, it was just, I hated it. I actually hated it so much.
Oh my god.
But post the show,
okay,
they continued to see that woman.
Wow. So wait, how many episodes were there?
I think it's gonna be 6. I've only seen 3.
So they give you like a
the couple, each couple storyline was only 2 episodes long.
Okay.
So they were just bringing new couples.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine had actually recommended it to me with very little spoilers, and then I watched it. I just messaged her back, and I was like, "This is porn. This is porn. I don't understand how to stop porn. The only difference between this and porn is that we like have a backstory for the people in it. Like, I cannot imagine going from being straight or in my life to my friends and family finding out on TV while my tits are out and I'm eating somebody's pussy that I like girls. Like, I just don't want you guys to find out like this.
Oh my gosh.
I'd rather I just told you, and then I would tell you not to watch the show.
It would be easier if they had.
And I couldn't get my head around that part of like, people are really coming on here. Like you were saying about, oh, you got to go to work after this. Like, yeah, you got to go to work after this. And you have been eating pussy on TV. And I'm telling you, they show.
Oh my God. I get it. They show everything.
They be showing it. I was gagged. Gagged. And I can understand why it's a compelling watch, because I did find myself wanting to know whether these couples
were going to make it.
Yeah. Whether opening up their relationship was the right thing for them, or whether it was just like, I was just trying to make you happy.
Yeah.
I think a lot of these open relationships also bank on the fact that you guys are bi.
Pretty much.
I don't think it works really. Like, for the first two couples anyway, it's like, at some point, the girls are kissing. The guys are like something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just two people having sex and someone standing there, and which I think is also interesting, because one of the girlies who was actually the polyamorous one who came into it was like, I don't really like girls. I was like, but you was kissing and the girl wife a lot, and he was like, yeah. She was like, yeah, it's actually kind of interesting. And I was like, this whole thing is interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think it made me feel like this is a dating show, because they're not really dating, but
no.
I think it was interesting that a lot of the postscripts where people continued to see the people they'd met at the...
Yeah. So maybe it was as actually just an experiment to see, not just an experiment to see if it was going to work, but just to find your partner.
Yeah. Which I also think is interesting, because, like, those polyamory people kind of have a look to them. Sorry, they do.
What is the look?
The look is just like horny. I can't really describe it, but it just looks like one of the episodes opens. The couple that are coming to learn about this are walking in, and the other people there. One of the women, her trousers is see-through. Like, how else can you tell people that you're horny? Why is... And your trousers are see-through, and I can see that you're wearing a thong. I can see that you barely have any underwear on. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I know maybe I'm a bit prudish, but like...
It's a lot. Sex on show is a lot.
When it's not a sex... Like, again, I'm not to overshare or anything, but I just think at 2 p.m. is not the time for me to be seeing full frontal erect penises. Like, that's not the time, is all I'm saying. I don't know when the time is, but I'm just saying that, like, in my head, there's a clear distinction between sexy I hate that phrase, sexy time. Like, time where something, seeing something like that is sexy, and time when it's not.
Yeah.
And on Channel 4 in the middle of the day is not that time. Even on Channel 4 at 9 p.m, that's not that time. I don't want to see this when I'm eating my dinner. Like, I honestly don't know what the answer is, but it's clearly popular because it's on its third season. And it was actually more entertaining than Honesty Box for me.
That's the thing. It's crazy that those type of formats, even though it's so sexually driven, have more drama. But I think it's because for me it feels more real because people are bearing so much.
Yeah, and I think the people that come onto that show need to be so committed to the journey that they're going to go on in the show, because they are basically signing an NDA. They're signing a contract that says people can show your bare body.
Yeah. And
show you in moments of ecstasy. Like, that's the other things. Again, one thing to show my tits. Maybe I don't mind you showing my tits, but playing the sound of me coming is crazy.
But the thing is, it's third season, so you know what you're getting. I stopped feeling sorry for people that like...
I don't think it's not a full story thing. I'm just saying you have come on, you are so committed to your journey of finding a third person that you don't, that the cost of that is fine for you. So those are Channel 4 shows.
Yeah.
Very, very briefly, there has been an announcement that the Queer Ultimatum is coming back.
Okay.
They've got a cast photo.
Okay. Oh, so it's really coming back.
Yeah, I think it's back in June. I Kissed a Boy is back.
Yeah.
And Sneaky Link just
drops, yeah.
Again, to not a lot of fanfare, and there's somebody...
I haven't watched it. And
I wasn't planning. I was like, oh, Sneaky Link, and then there is someone I like to watch videos of called Bachelor Fan Take on YouTube.
Oh my gosh, yes, I love that. Yeah, I love
and
him.
And he basically did a review of the show, and I was like, this format doesn't even make any sense.
And
you come on the show with your situationship,
yeah,
and then you have a chance to leave your situationship for someone else.
Oh, is that how the show works? I mean, watch his review.
Yeah, and I just found myself being like, this is what I was talking about like the premises being so like generic, or like unclear that you could just form a show in the edit when you get there. And it was another show where like sex and hooking up was a part of it because it's your sneaky link, right? They're your situationship because they're your fuck buddy, whatever it is. And that sort of led me to this thought about like, are we at a saturation when it comes to dating shows where we've done all the like genuinely interesting concepts, but people really have a thirst for these dating shows. So now people are trying to churn out dating shows, whether like you can imagine them in a room being like, okay, a dating show. What if it's like old people? They're like, great, later daters. Okay, got another idea. What if it's like your situationship? Great, sneaky links. Like, okay, I've got another idea. What if it's like you like dogs? It's like, great, we've got a new show, it's called Dating with Dogs, and it's getting the dogs to date first before the partner's like...
By the way, I also love that premise. I would actually watch that. It's all
okay, what dating, but what if he was autistic? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, every...
Yeah, it's true.
Every... Like, someone has... Like, somebody did a line of cocaine and then wrote down 78 premises for dating shows, and that's the universe that we're living in.
I think it's hard because I think dating shows perform so well.
Yeah.
And the dating shows that, okay, maybe over the last 5 to 10 years, even go back to Love is Blind, those premises that like promise you a relationship that's going to be built, you see their journey, and at the end they'll get married, and that's your payoff. Those shows have been rinsed out to death. You have Love is Blind, you have The Bachelor, you have so many other shows, Maths even though that's a different journey in terms of marriage and stuff like that. But the relationship part of it is interesting, but the drama is what lands in all of those shows, in all those premises. And I think that rather than these shows promising love, I think that a lot of TV execs are thinking about the drama and making sure that they create drama-filled reality shows, not even dating, just reality shows. And I think that's why you're getting this like flurry of sneaky links, of
Perfect Match,
all those sort of shows. You're getting that type of genre.
When the premise is like, but you don't really care because you like the idea of people being on relationships and stuff. I just have a thought. I think what I'm looking for in my next dating reality show is I want a Selling Sunset, but about relationships. So I don't know what the precinct is, but it's a precinct that requires like that has like relationships in it.
Yeah.
So you are following couples and stuff, and you're getting all the ups and downs of relationships, you're getting the drama and stuff, but like it's more returnable, because I think then the casting is about casting genuinely interesting couples, rather than every season having to like generate.
Yeah, that's very
drama.
True. I mean, perfectly honest, that's where you get things like but also couples therapy, which I know is like that's the kind of show you end up getting.
Yeah.
And you see and follow their lives, and actually I think as the seasons of couples therapy has gone on, we see a little bit more outside of the actual therapy room or therapy session, which I think helps.
That started in the COVID. Season.
Yeah, and that really helps give the show more colour. It helps you understand the couples more. It helps you understand even when at the end, like, are they going to stay together or not?
Yeah.
You know, that type of thing. One thing I was going to say actually to that point is I do love the idea of like the relationships part and real couples, but I want them to be of age. I don't like. We've talked about it. At the time when you are, I think when you're younger, and you're forced into situations where you can couple up and be like coupley, like Love Island.
Yeah.
That feels more manufactured. Whereas I think if you are looking at contestants and couples who are a little bit older, you're able to draw out the real. That's what I would prefer, and that's what I've always been. Why the last couple of years, the shows that I've really like gravitated to in the relationship space has been older dating, like later daters I loved. Golden Bachelor / Bachelorette I really enjoyed, because it just feels a bit more like their experience, but also they know there will be drama, but the focus is a relationship. But
what I was about to suggest is basically, I was going to suggest it's a wedding, like you start the season with a wedding, and it's all the other couples at this wedding in their pursuit of maybe or maybe not getting married, right?
Okay.
But then I've changed my mind, and then I realised, okay, so I was like, actually no, it's a speed dating company.
Ooh.
And every season you start at the speed dating event, and then you follow each of those people and see what their dating lives are like over that year, and like whether people do make something out of the speed dating event, whether people go meet other people, and then maybe that's how you keep it returning. But then I was like, isn't that basically Love Is Blind?
It's a bit like Love Is Blind, also like Indian/Jewish matchmakers.
Yes. But why don't we have like one? I wonder. Yeah, there must be a reason why they haven't done that, or maybe it has been done and they don't want to step on its toes. But like, just something that has a precinct, that is just genuinely dating. Because I think dating is so interesting, and everyone agrees that dating is so interesting. Even getting to see, we love couples therapy, like getting a peek into a couple's life. We're just like, oh, this is how people live. Yeah. What's going on here?
Maybe it's just first dates, but just following them further.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe it's something like that.
But I guess it's like, that's probably, then I don't know, you introduce the incentive in order for them to make it to the finish line, and then once you introduce the incentive, then it
becomes inauthentic.
I'll figure it out. I've got time. I've got nothing but time at the moment. I can figure out what this dating premise is, and maybe that's what I should be doing. I should be working in reality TV.
I think reality TV, that reality TV I think is so fun. It's like, I mean, it's not easy, but I think it's really fun and interesting, and yeah.
Who knows? You guys might be listening to this podcast years from now and be like, "Wow, this was the point where Shoshana and Marnie decided to like come up with the concept for their hit dating show, which has taken the world by storm." Don't know what it is yet.
Yeah.
But like I said, because if Arlette can sell her format, why can't we sell a format?
True. Because also, like, Pop the Balloon is not like, that's not a format that.
It's Take Me Out.
It is, and I also don't think after this couple of episodes, I think they're not going to get renewed. I don't think they're going to get renewed.
I don't even know if it was still on.
It's still on. Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible.
We can sell a format.
Of course.
So watch this space. Watch this space. We might call the format Scripts and Giggles, and then you'll know it was us. The format is you get a bunch of people to sign up to do a play. But they don't realise that the play is actually Romeo and Juliet, and then one of them is going to fall in love by the end of the play series. Okay?
I love that.
I don't know, I need to work on this, but I'm telling you, there is a dating format out there that we haven't explored that genuinely does prioritise dating over cash prize or just like come on here to be famous.
Yeah, exactly. But it's hard because being told the prize is love doesn't really pay the bills, especially if I have to come out of my way to like go on this reality show.
But people are lonelier than ever. True. People do want love, don't they?
Actually, maybe you just need to pay them instead of having the incentive. Just pay them as you normally would.
Yeah, but like, does that? Yes, yeah, I agree. I actually agree with that. Because
Love Is Blind, they do pay them a stipend.
I agree with that. I think that you should do that. I don't think it's fair to have people come and sit on a reality TV show for 2 weeks, no pay. Yeah. Most of us can't take 2 weeks leave from work, so that's you've quit your job to come and do this,
which a lot of them have done.
And then to not make any money afterwards is crazy. Yeah. But
yeah.
We are basically saying we feel like there needs to be a bit of a revamp.
Yeah.
Because some of these formats are stale and they don't work. And they reek of, we need a dating show. Exactly. Rather than, like, we genuinely think that this is an interesting premise that people are going to watch. Exactly. So
it feels like that period, I think definitely of the last year, after the success of Traitors, we just got a flurry of traitor-like shows. And we're getting a lot of quantity, but not a lot of quality.
Yeah, it's kind of like what we briefly touched on before about The White Lotus and how now we're back to making shows that are about like rich people and aspirational lives and stuff like that. It's like, Love Is Blind blew, and now everybody wants Love Is Blind, even the people that make Love Is Blind. Like, it's a bit weird.
Yeah.
The Netflix cinematic universe makes me sick, if I'm being honest. Like, if I have to see another person who was a loser on another show, I'm gonna rip my hair out. Like, it's bizarre.
So dumb.
But that is our dating show roundup.
Yeah, I know we didn't do any ratings, but I feel like you can
tell from our reviews
what our thoughts were. Yeah.
So we'll leave you with those shows to ponder on. Mm-hmm. If any of you watch them, it'd be great to know what you think of them.
Yes, please.
You might disagree with our takes. You might agree with our takes. Are we at peak dating shows? Let us know. Because as we're talking, like we said, there are a bunch of other shows that already have had premiere seasons coming back as well. So, also, so if you've got dating shows that you are watching that you would suggest to us are better than the ones that we outlined.
Yeah,
Let us know.
please.
We'd love to watch them.
Yeah.
Or maybe we wouldn't. We'll find out.
Yeah.
So yes, this has been Scripts and Giggles
with Shoshana
and Marnie.
Okay then.
I never get to close out the podcast.
Okay. Bye now. Oh. No, I thought when you were saying it, I thought you were giving me the nudge about
No, but I was just thinking, I never get to say it, so that was fun.
How did that feel?
Powerful, I feel powerful.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Bye. Bye.